If you've ever been ready to trade multiple 100% runners after a monstrous Fed decision, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. We are back for another episode of Live Trading. Happy Thursday. Big happenings in the market. We're going to cover it. 13's in the bag. You know what to do.
Welcome to Benzinga Live Trading.
Let's see if this actually kind of comes back.
Way out of control, got way too high.
All right. Hey, I will take that. I will absolutely take that.
Hello and welcome everybody, and happy Thursday. Welcome back to another episode of Live Trading. We did it. We survived the Fed and the market absolutely ripping this morning. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on 13. We're going to talk about it with you folks. 13, first of all, how was your evening? How are you doing?
Well, I'm doing just fine. My evening was pretty good. It's just like any other evening I've had this week. Not bad.
Okay, awesome. So the Fed, we had our Fed decision yesterday, 50 bips cut. And it was a chop fest right around that. I mean, it was all over the place. First reaction was actually down. And then it rocketed up, and then it just chopped around before resolving lower. And then today we're actually above yesterday's intraday highs. Let's go ahead and take a look at the SPY chart here now. Currently, this is 569. We're right up here. Yesterday, it did look like we actually broke beneath the trend line that I have here. It closed above it. But today, opening up at new all-time highs. If we take a look inside here at the SPY, you can get an idea of exactly what happened yesterday at the decision, the remainder of the afternoon, the after-hours session, and then the pre-market session here. It should be no surprise that the market traded up in the after-hours. That's been commonplace for what feels like years at this point. Dennis did a great job covering that on pre-market prep. So what do you think here, 13? What are we looking at today? How are we trying to examine what the market is doing? What do we think is going to happen here?
Well, I feel like we're really getting extended here. I mean, it's great that we're getting this upside, but I want to see this kind of price action following a more significant correction. I don't want the market to get too extended because the reversions to the mean are going to be even more steep. So, the market's going to do whatever it wants, and that's something we have to deal with. I feel like we are getting a little bit of a blow off top here. RSI is getting extended. We're not into the 70s yet, but we're getting close. We have these multiple 100% movers this morning. Another indication that we're getting pretty extended here. As far as levels, I mean, we're just going to be talking about the previous all-time highs to the downside. We're if we open up here,
wait. Hang on. Did you just say downside?
Right.
Did you just say downside?
Yeah. Might as well.
I don't know why we're talking about downside when the only way is up.
Man, how long do you have that one in the chamber?
I look, as soon as we started talking about this, I was like, I know exactly what's going to happen. Good morning, Alyssa. How are you?
Good morning. Yeah, I was going to say, like, you had that ready.
I had it ready. I had it ready. Look, I've been up since like 4:45 this morning. I'm ready to roll.
I'm not. Can you
All right.
energy?
Sorry you had to hear that, chat. We'll move on.
Okay. Good morning, Alyssa. I'm glad you joined us. All right, 13. Sorry, I didn't mean.
At this point,
didn't mean to take you off your train of thought there.
You're fine. At this point, we just have support levels. There's resistance is going to be what we make of it today. And then aside from that, I just think that we need to cool off here. But whenever that happens, at this point, not sure. Maybe it comes next week after we get the triple witching at the end of this week. As I think we'll probably end up seeing some newer bets on where the broader market thinks the best plays are going to be. Like maybe they start going into small caps with since we're going to have interest rate cuts. Maybe they go into solar energy as we started to see yesterday. So with the cuts on the table and now this being part of their cycle that they're going to move forward with, we might see a lot of rotation into more speculative names, things with lower floats that are really easy to move around, like what we're getting today. Mm-hmm. So I think that small caps and some of those really beaten up names that still make money, they're going to end up performing really well. So that's what I expect to see. Been watching the IWM for some activity. Heavily leveraged names also going to be probably doing well in the face of rate cuts. So this is going to be the rate cut environment that we're in now. I just don't know when we're going to get that pullback that I've been looking for so long.
Big B saying healthcare is where it's going to go as well. So, we are going to keep watch on this. One of the things that we were discussing yesterday in happy hour is there may very well be a sell-off, and I'm in the same boat as you, 13. I think that there will be, but I can't tell you when it's going to be. But one of the other things that we were discussing is that, maybe while that kind of materializes, there might just be some rotation, right? Rotation out of some of these big tech names that have been big winners, maybe kind of distribute the holdings across a larger subset of stocks instead of just 7. So we'll monitor that and we'll see if we can come up with that. I'm with you on the whole IWM thing, all those small caps. Thankfully, I'm already positioned for a lot of that. So if we end up getting that type of movement, I should be in really good shape. In the meantime, though, we will do everything that we can to try and scrape some money out from day trading here. So good stuff there, chat. You want to go ahead and break down the movers, 13?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, we're going to flip over here, as 13 kind of already hinted at. We've got some wild stuff going on here today. We're going to start with T-Bio here. One of the things that we have realized is going to be there's like a pattern forming, and we're trying to find other stocks that fit this pattern. It started with GLMD, which is, again, making a pop here in the pre-market. We'll examine that. And then it was with PRTG yesterday, which was just absolute monster. I mean, just absolute. You didn't even really need a whole lot of shares to make a lot of money on that yesterday. So today we're going to try and find the same thing. Now, the pattern that we've noticed is that these stocks have recently had a reverse split. They've regained NASDAQ compliance, and they have a small float. So that seems to be the kind of the sweet spot, if you will, for these stocks that run. So if we take a look at T-Bio here, which is up 175%, let's just go down the checklist, shall we? Oh, short interest, also yes. Another one of those things that's on there. Sorry for leaving that out. We'll just check all of these things. T-Bio here, short interest, really not a whole lot. Got it at 3% as of the last update. This is down from previously and only 1 day to cover. So there is some short interest here, but it's not really a whole lot. However, if we look at the calendar and we go to splits, this thing did a reverse split in May this year, 1 for 18. So that's what's going on here. As far as the news goes, I don't have any new news here today. So this is still missing that, what do we call it? Regaining compliance newsprint that we've seen. But the float here, 406K. So this absolutely meets our float requirement. So 13, what are you thinking here on T-Bio today?
This was one that I had pointed out that was going to do the reverse split and that it could run thereafter. And kind of felt foolish when it never really got going. And I don't even know that I would consider this really getting going either, considering that we're kind of back into the sideways action that it has been having all summer since they did that reverse split. So let's see how high this one goes. As far as upside goes, I think maybe we could get up to $6 throughout the, over the course of the day. There might be some stops along the way in the 5 and 4 handle. Don't really have too many of them. Maybe $5 exactly is one of them, and then 5.45 would be another. But it's actually moving right now, so there's some nice price.
I was going to say, all we had to do was literally start talking about this stock. You can see the volume candle there. This is starting to trade up. Now, I'm not in any of these names. I'm not going to trade them until the opening print. We kind of talked about this yesterday. I'm not doing anything here in the pre-market, so I'll keep you posted on what's going on here. But literally started to move as we started to talk about it, 13.
That's silly. But yeah, so here's one of the movers. It's got the really low float of 406K. Going to be really easy to push around, but I don't see any news on why this is going. So it's just kind of fitting in with that theme that all these reverse split biotech, not just biotech, but reverse split companies with high short interest and a really low float are going to end up moving a lot like this and be 100% runners.
Okay, we'll see if we get it. Watch the volume. That's going to be your trigger here. T-Bio, the first one. Okay, next here is going to be ZEO. This is ticker ZEO. So let's go ahead and take a look at the entire thing that we just did for T-Bio. We're going to do the same thing. Short interest, pretty much negligible. Not really a whole lot here. Calendar, got no splits for this one. So really not fitting in there. Overview, 2.46 million. So it's still low, but it's not one of these micro floats. And then recently we did have some news here about, this was back from August, excuse me. So that's actually not recent. So Zio here, not really fitting into the same pattern that we were looking at. What do you see here in Zio? This did pop from what close was about $1.40 yesterday, and this went almost to $7. So we're still getting a huge range here in the pre-market, although we've broken down. What do you think on Zio here, 13?
Well, there's no news that I can find, and it does have that 2.46 million share float. So that's really the only metrics that I can find that, for what we're trying to trade here. However, this is a solar company. They're a vertically integrated provider of residential solar energy systems and equipment. So in fitting with the theme of seeing solar stocks return with these low interest rates, I think that's why we're seeing this one move, because they are a solar company and they have a low float. So it's easy to move around. I think that's why some traders found this one, latched onto it, and decided to push it up. And, it got up to 650. What was that in the after hours? Or no, that was pre-market. So it got up to 650 in the pre-market, and now we're back down to 208. I'm sorry, 280. I'd have to wait and see if this one's going to end up pushing up after we open, but it's entirely possible. We just saw one just like this yesterday, where it opened much lower and ended up running all the way up into the $23. That was the big mover that we traded yesterday. So it could be possible here with Zio as well.
Okay. Next is going to be XIII. So let's run through the list again. XIII here, you can see this stock was 236 yesterday, popped almost as high as 9. I actually do think we got some 9 prints there. Has come back into just under 6, which is also just under the VWAP, but has really started to trade sideways now. So let's run down the list. We're going to start with short interest. Okay, 11.58% of the float shorted, 1 day to cover. That's elevated, but not super high. Let's go ahead and check the splits. Oh, would you look at that? The end of August 28th, this did a 1-for-5 reverse split. That is checking out as well. Let's take a look at the float, 1.1 million here. And let's also take a look at the news. Oh, would you look at that? Last night in the after hours, while we were on happy hour and discussing this, it was granted an extension for NASDAQ compliance. What do you think, 13? You think we got another one on our hands here with XIII already up 152% here today?
Well, I think if we're fishing, you've hooked one. So here we are. This one's moving up past some of these lagging moving averages. Just blew right past the 20, 200, and 500 day SMAs. So let's. I really don't have a whole lot to add with this one. We were kind of on this topic of well, specifically pointed out how XIII could end up being one that ends up moving. We just identified that days ago, like this week.
Yep.
So it's
we
really
did a scan for this using Benzinga Pro. Shout out, Pro.
Yep. So, I don't know how much higher it's going to get out of this. Maybe it goes up to 750, but the RSI already is pretty extended here. So might just be one of those that ends up trading, a little bit higher out of the open and maybe leaks a little bit. When we open, I'll have a better idea of what to do with XIII, but this is definitely going to be one that we're going to be, I think, trading a bunch of this morning.
Indeed. So get your lists ready here. Okay, I'm going to keep going down the movers list because there are a couple of more that are moving here. I'm not sure any of them fit into our pattern here, but we'll examine a few of these. Next here is going to be RZLV. This is Resolve AI. So let me start here with the short interest. Don't have, oh, come on now.
Well, while we're figuring that out, sideshow real quick, T-Bio, if they plan to delist, that's fine. We're not going to hold this. So it's listed today. That's all we care about.
Yep.
Sorry,
okay. Here we go. Next here for Resolve AI. No really kind of low short interest. No reverse split here, but we do have a news catalyst. Shares spike higher as company issues PR applauding the recent announcement by Microsoft and BlackRock to invest $30 billion into AI infrastructure. That's apparently driving Resolve here. If we take a look at the share structure, I actually don't have a float reading in here. On average, the stock trades under 100,000 shares per day. Today, we're already almost at 2 million. What are you thinking on RZLV 13?
Yeah, that PR didn't really have anything that mentioned them being tied to Microsoft and BlackRock specifically. But I think just the fact that they're investing $30 billion into just the AI infrastructure means that a piece of that might end up trickling down to RZLV. So that might be what the thought is here with that. Now, I did look around for a float. They have 3.13 million shares, so it is going to be one of those that can be pushed around a little bit. But I don't have a whole lot of other things that I can find on RZLV as to why it's moving, other than it just, it's part of the AI space and it's getting a movement along with the other AI stocks that are, going to probably get it as part of that 30 billion that BlackRock and Microsoft are investing. Okay,
really good stuff. Carmen here giving us some supporting information for some of these trades. XIII, 0 shares available. Borrow rate is 455%. T-Bio, 232% borrow rate, looking good. So some more stuff in there. Awesome. Here's your catalyst on that. Now, next here is going to be GLMD. This is one that we are all familiar with. This was our first runner here this week. Galmed Pharmaceutical shares are trading higher after the company announced plans to broaden its drug development activities with 2 additional programs over the next 2 years. You can see this stock was below $7 in the pre-market. We actually ripped up to 11. We're sitting right below the VWAP. Tell you what, this pre-market 1-minute chart looks like this is going to try and test that VWAP and maybe move higher here. Remember also, this is one of those low float names that we have been taking a look at that also reverse split recently. Float here 624K. 13, what are you thinking here? Might you go back to the well and double dip here with GLMD?
I'm just going to be looking to see what kind of levels we have here on the smaller time frames. If it provides a trade, I'll probably do a quick trade, but I don't think we're going to end up getting the same kind of movement we got. What was that, Tuesday? I think that would be, it will be extraordinary for one if we ended up going higher than that, but that'd be great. But I don't know until I start seeing some of the price action out of the open, whether if we're going to get up there. But it did give us, Tuesday did provide us some pretty decent levels to use. So we've already hit 11 in the pre-market, which was a previous level in intraday session yesterday. The next one could be 1265, which was also which is a pre-market high yesterday. So I would just look to the left and use those levels for now. I don't want to get too excited for this because we've already seen the big movement in this one. I don't know if we're going to get that again.
With you on that. Okay, Smoke Tuna says bonjour, Smoke Tuna. Good morning. Hey, I'll tell you what, I did see those pictures from trading from a hut or a cabana on the water. Pretty awesome. You're doing things right. Good luck today. Thanks for joining us here. Can't wait to get some of those spicy tuna calls after all. James, good morning, James. James from Benzinga here. Recent addition to the Blackstone family. James, we're happy to have you. Good to see you this morning, my man. And Easy Mike back here. I like what Sydney calls you, the mighty Maiku. How about that? I like that. Good morning, everybody, and welcome. Okay, let me keep moving on here. Sorry, I am jacked up on coffee. Like I said, I have been mainlining coffee since I woke up today, and I am extremely excited. We're just going to have to deal with that. Edgewise Therapeutics, that's ticker EWTX. Edgewise Therapeutics shares are trading higher after the company announced top-line data from EDG 7500 for the phase 1 trial in healthy subjects and the single-dose arm of the phase 2 trial in patients with obstructive HCM. This thing popping here nicely, up 33% in the pre-market. Really nice formation, staying above VWAP. Sure looks like 26 is the next test to the upside here for a potential pop. 13, you have anything here on EWTX?
Didn't cover this one, but just a quick look. I can tell you that the float is going to be among the largest of the stocks we mentioned this morning.
63 mil.
Yeah, I'd be a little bit more hesitant with this one just because the supply's larger. The short interest is nice though, so there is that. It's got the 12.19% of the float shorted and over 10.5 days to cover. So that does make it a good short squeeze candidate. So if anything, we're going to see a short squeeze here, but I don't know how long that's going to last given the float. The float is a little bit heavier, not as heavy as SES was, but still, it's beyond the 10 million that we kind of like to look at as our threshold for how these movers will trade. So might see some leaking in this one throughout the day. I really don't know, but it might squeeze. So there's always that as well. Maybe $27 is going to be the breakout spot. Let's see what happens if it gets there.
Okay. Real quickly, just two to mention, we don't necessarily need to cover them. MYNA, this did spike, but it's kind of come back and consolidated. So maybe wait for this to break out of its sideways channel. And then Kraken. And the reason that I'm mentioning Kraken, ticker CRKN, is because we've traded this one before a whole bunch as well. Some of these that are on this list should be extremely familiar to this group. Kraken is one of those. So this did pop to 2, came all the way back in. We'll see what happens when this starts. Let me go over to the bigger chart here. And let's take some stocks from the chat. We do have 5 minutes until we get started here.
I can hit on some of those real quick because I was looking at what some of the folks were saying. Lillian was getting asked by Rustum. And, I've mentioned this, I've talked about this one several times about how I still think this one needs to reverse split because they are under $1. Their float is massive. And I still like the company. I think their product is awesome. It's great that they're getting orders. But, I don't know how much upside is going to be, gotten out of this one without a news catalyst because you're going to need something to help push up that kind of float. And I don't think that you're going to get that much upside with where it currently is right now. As far as cash goes in that one, I think they were okay, given that they were getting orders. I don't have an income statement read on that, but it seems like they have 83 million in cash as of their last reported holding. So it's in a good position. I just think the supply is too big. I think it needs a reverse split first, but once it does, this will be very, very attractive.
And maybe it will fit into that pattern that we've identified.
Yeah.
I agree. Nothing's going on here in LILM. I don't really think we need to pay attention to this one today. No offense. Google is another one that was being mentioned here. These are going to be interesting. Some of these Mag 7 names are really going to be interesting given the Fed decision here. Do we keep moving? Do we pull back? I know we've talked about potential sell-offs maybe after the rate cut or after the first rate cut or after the election or after the new year. So it'll be interesting to see where some of these tech names go. The thing that I like here about Google is that we did a really good job staying above the 200-day moving average after we recaptured it. Now with the gap today, it does look like the next test here is going to be the 50-day moving average. We'll see if we move above that. I will say that I am going to give this a little bit more time. I'm not necessarily going to jump right back into tech. I kind of want to give it a few days, especially into next week when the really poor seasonality period starts, just to see what some of these stocks do. I don't want to be bull trapped. I do think that there is going to be some rotation into small cap names, which I am already positioned for. So I feel pretty good about my exposure to the broader market here. However, I am not against day trading any of these things, especially if the setup is right. So Google here looks like it's going to test the 50-day. 13, you got any thoughts here on Google chart or otherwise?
I'm a holder of Google. I'm just going to hold it for now. If my cost basis is far, far away. So I'll continue to hold it. And if it even gets down to where my cost basis was under 100, I'll probably end up buying more. I still think Google's a good company despite the antitrust headwinds. I'd be looking for a recapture of that 50. That is getting pretty close there. So let's see. I'm just going to wait it out and see what happens. I want to see that recapture of that 50-day SMA first, though.
Okay. Sweet. Another stock that the chat was mentioning here is going to be Lunar. This, of course, has been one of the stock du jours recently. Lunar here. We talked about this yesterday. If we take a look inside, we did pop. We pretty much sold back some of those gains all day, but we didn't break down, right? Yes. We held here. So that, to me, is the key takeaway. 13, I know you've been all over this. What do you got here on Lunar?
So it has been holding 750 pretty well. And after we had that news that they were getting that contract worth up to, I think it was a 4.3 billion or something like that. We had that after I was run. We never ended up getting back up to 920 in the regular session. I sold pretty much everything I had in Lunar, and I started getting back into it when it dipped under 750. 750 is a level I've had marked off here for a while, and we're holding above that pretty well. So I think to Lion Atlas's point about this price raise, we could see some more upside here in this one, especially with how it moved in the pre-market, got as high as 875. So I don't know how quickly this one will move, but there's still a lot to like about this one. I don't want to, discourage this one at all because I still like the company. I think they have a lot of great things going for them, a lot of good growth opportunities, especially since they're getting NASA contracts now. But that news yesterday was sell the news after we bought the rumor,
Yep.
and we're open.
And we are open right up to the bell. Nicely done there. Got XCur in view here. Also kind of keeping an eye on T-Bio, which looks like it's trying to go higher right out of the open, which is something else. We'll see if that materializes on T-Bio. Also have VWAP there, 398. Looks like a 406 your low intraday print there on T-Bio.
Yeah, it looks like XCur is trying to get above VWAP and hold above it. Could get going here. It's they're bringing in some sell orders at 6, trying to push it back down. I was just taking a look at ZEO and T-Bio. They both looked like they were weaker. T-Bio might actually try to push up here as up to 490. We'll see what that gets going. XCur, that's the one I think I'm gonna watch for a moment here. What else we seeing? What else we seeing, folks?
Yeah,
XVRA.
XCur might also kind of be getting ready to go here. We'll see if it loses that 552. Yeah, there we go. 550. Oop, big breakdown there. Let's see if XCur can recapture that on that little flush there. This is actually below the support there. Let's see if it hangs on to 5.
Real quick, someone was asking about Nike. I wanted to cover that one, and I think that the movement we're getting today is because of the buy rating that Bernstein kept on there, lowered the price target to 109. So that's likely. I don't see any of the news. That's likely why we're seeing that movement here this morning.
Here's your chart. Did you want to go over the chart, or were you just covering the news there?
I was just covering the news. Okay, so gotcha. XCur now going down to the 200 EMA on the 5-minute. That is at 481.
T-Bio is working.
T-Bio is working. Nice.
So far, I mean, it's curling up here. We're going to be right at the highs here.
Looks like that one could get up to the 490 that I was mentioning not that long ago. Let's see what happens there. ZEO, that one's also going down. What are these 100% movers thinking, getting out of the 100% range?
There goes T-Bio to the highs here.
Nice.
T-Bio to the highs. Okay, nice scalp one done here on T-Bio. That was small.
Same.
Okay, right at that resistance. If it keeps going, that's fine. We'll wait for another setup here, and we'll try and play it safe. But 1 for 1 here on the day so far. Let's see if I can fix my alt resume. There we go.
And let's see here.
There we go. All right, what else do you guys? You guys are mentioning ZVRA.
Yeah, looks like
this is a wild one out of the open here. Sorry, 13.
No worries. Looks like 550 and T-Bio might be in the cards if it can recapture 5. So that'll be one thing to watch for.
Okay.
ZEO, it's recovering but slowly. XCur, that's going way down.
RZLV may be curling off the bottom here on RZLV. This one's spread pretty good. Spread 25 cents down here. We do have some room to the VWAP, though, on RZLV.
Looks like it's trying to recapture a VWAP on mine, but it hasn't done so yet. How did it get up to 25?
I mean, this thing here, let's see. Well, that was, first of all, that was in the pre-market. Now, I don't have a float reading, so if anyone else has a float reading for this, maybe that's why. I don't have one, FYI. So we'll see here at RZLV.
All right. What else are we looking at here? Lunar down to 7.5.
I can bring Lunar up here real quick. Market, by the way, 571 looks to be the high. We're pulling off some of those highs. And then real quick here, I don't know. I've talked about it a few times, so I'm going to mention it here again. Just so all you folks are aware, the Bros trade, this is one that I gave out for a potential swing trade. We now gapped up above the 50-day, and we actually gapped into the price target range that I had. I was looking for 35. We're currently at 35.40, so I will be looking to start lightening this. I will like to sell into this move. I'll likely scale out so that if it continues to move towards 40, I'll keep a trailer on here. But this trade has worked on that 200-day reclaim. Actually reclaimed it twice, frankly, in the time frame of this trade. So now we are at the point where we start selling and booking gains on ticker BROS.
Getting asked about PRTG.
RZLV coming back up to the VWAP here. This is going to be scalp 2 done in a sec here if we can get up there.
PRTG, that was our mover from yesterday. And
yes, sir, it was.
we had a pop out of the gate here up to about 1240, and we're dropping down to these EMAs again.
Okay, let me just get my order in here, and then I'll bring that back up.
Oh, don't bother. I'm just mentioning what's going on with that one.
Okay, I'll let you know if I get filled on the exit on RZLV out 969. Nice. So nice 2 for 2 here today. We are up a little bit. Really good start. T-Bio looks like it stopped at 5 and is coming back a little bit. We'll see if we get another entry there.
Yeah, it's still above VWAP, but slightly. ZVRA that popped at 824 and came back in.
Thank you, Rippin.
Yeah.
We're saying on FinViz 3.13 million. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Here, let's take a look at PRTG because again, that was the wild mover here. And just kind of spitballing some of my thoughts here for you folks. One of the things that we're seeing here today was in the pre-market was GLMD was up 30-some% here in the pre-market, still up 23%. So this had a huge move, then had a day where it really just sold off and took a break. Again, another shout out to Nick, who reminded us yesterday, hey, take a look at that high flyer you guys were trading the day before. Today, it's starting to get rolling here. So if we apply this to PRTG, I know we ran yesterday. Don't be fooled here today. If it takes a break here today, maybe it goes again. This is just, again, we kind of compared GLMD to PRTG. So let's just kind of keep that in mind here. This did look like it popped and then reversed off that.
Looks like RZLV is trying to push into 10 and go higher.
Did I sell too early, it looks like? Yep, but that's okay. That's okay. 2 for 2 here today. I'm doing all right, and I have not
there we go.
I have not put a lot of risk on today, and I am still doing all right.
And I don't blame
Let's
you because I feel like this movement could end up getting sold. This big upside that we got this morning in the broader market. I feel like that it's just ready to be sold, but we'll see if that ends up happening. I haven't been right about that. Zeo Energy is breaking above its 65 EMA. This could end up getting going here. Has some work to do at 360 to get through some consolidation, but 360 seems to be the next spot where we could see price move up to and get some resistance.
Okay, and so real quick here, with the Bros trade that I just talked about, remember I'm in calls for that. I'm in the October 35 calls that are now in the money. So I'm looking to scale out in thirds here. First one here is going to be 175. I'm on the offer. Second one is going to be at 2, and the third will be a trailer. So I'll keep you posted if I get filled on any of those here today. Let's collect some cash, baby. Let's collect some cash here today.
RFID, I'm really glad that you exercise that discipline, man. That's great to hear because I was worried about folks jumping into that after it had that big run. So well done on that discipline. You nailed that one.
Locking in profits after it went way down. Thank you again. Awesome. That is exactly what we want to hear. Look, when you trade, there's a difference between trading and investing. And I think sometimes when we talk about both here, I'm guilty of this. Sometimes we'll just kind of roll it into the same discussion, if you will, however you want to say it. When you're trading, like if you get gains, it's okay to take them. And if you're an active trader, you're likely going to have an opportunity to buy again if it keeps moving. So locking in gains on the way up, putting that money in your pocket, never a bad idea. Very, very well done here.
So Bitcoin names up handily this morning after Bitcoin has reached 63,000 and is now trading above it. I know Line Atlas
ripping here. Yeah,
we were having some great ads yesterday, weren't we? To Bito, BITO. Let's see what else we got going on here. Looks like ZEO is really starting to get going now. There we go, all the way up to 350 and getting a little bit of resistance because that's where the supply is. So need to see some more volume to chew its way through there, and that pretty much ends well into the 4 handle if we want to be honest. But this is a move above VWAP after getting rejected all pre-market. This is a nice move to see. We could end up getting some more movement to the upside here if this really gets going with the volume.
Jay mentioning PI here, which is up another. That's ticker PI. Stocks up another 3.5% here today. Jay, this is a monster, man. What a beast is right. You were buying this at 50? Jay out here just making Chewbacca super proud. Let's go. Let's go, Jay. Ticker PI on that one. It's a cash collecting day. All right,
Yes,
T-Bio,
it
this is interesting. Sorry, 13. T-Bio, this came back in towards the VWAP here. You know what? I've got some profits today. I'm going to start. I'm going to take a little starter here. If it dips down to that support level at 4, I'll add starter position on this first buy here. So we're going to let this go against us as long as it doesn't like start to massively break down. That'll be our cue to exit the starter. If it does come in and settle, we can add, make our cost basis a little better, and then hope for another pop here. We'll see what happens on T-Bio.
ZEO pulling back after hitting that supply zone I had mentioned. So this is what we were expecting. How far down it goes, not sure. Might get some support right around maybe 3 even. It could get some support. But at this point, I'm going to be watching for it to stay above VWAP. And if we do hold above VWAP for 5, 10, 15 minutes, I think we could get another stab at taking out that supply that resisted it just recently.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Which ticker was this again?
The ZEO.
ZEO. So that dropped off my scanner. Let me go ahead and bring this back up. By the way, RZLV halted to the downside after that VWAP rejection. Again, we just talked about it. It's okay to take profits. Glad I had a small position there, but I booked the gains. Glad I did. ZEO. Sorry.
Sorry. It didn't look like that was too big of a move to warrant a halt, but I wasn't watching it at the time, so
it's really thin too. That's the other thing. Okay. T-Bio still breaking down here.
Yeah. XIII coming back though.
Jesse's asking if we should short Johnson & Johnson because Diddy's being locked up. This is actually kind of funny because they found, I guess,
baby oil.
Yeah, like they quote cases and cases and cases of baby oil. And Diddy's, I mean, this story is, we have not seen the end of this. We have not seen there's apparently reports of there being hidden video cameras in every room of his house, videoing people at these free. I mean, I just look out, man. Look out. And not to spread conspiracy theories here, but I don't think P. Diddy's going to kill himself. So if something happens to him, God forbid, y'all know that there's some shady stuff going on.
Yeah, there are things that these wealthy folks do that I will never understand.
Me either, man. It's just it's another life that I just don't get. XCUR looks like this is curling off that drop right out of the open. GLMD, nice little move off that pre-market support dip it took right here. We actually took the VWAP out. You're getting the expanding volume. GLMD looking good again here so far. Yep. First sale on Bros out 1/3 here, locking in gains. Let's effing go, folks. I'm gonna get myself a register ring on that.
$10 to $10.70. There's a little bit of consolidation there in the pre-market for GLMD. That, I mean, well, it's already pulling back now, getting up near there, but that's going to be the supply zone that we need to chew through in order to get past 11. So might see some whipping around price action, be some slowing price action, trying to work its way through that range.
Okay, so far it's doing a decent job holding that VWAP there. RFID long GLMD here at 9. Oh man, this is a good start to the day, folks.
Been a good week.
It really has, actually. It really has been a good week. I've really kind of turned it around on some of the day trading here, which I'm happy about, and just been a good week overall.
Yeah, you've been killing it. Look at GLMD. We're making our way through this consolidation I was just talking about. Still getting rejected, but it's trying to push through there. This is what we're going to watch for with GLMD, trying to make its way through that consolidation on its way up to 11. But once we're past 11, then let's see, we get, oh wow, 11 was also a resistance area yesterday in the regular session too. So once we get past 11, I'd stay 1265 is the next target to watch for there.
All right, ZEO here. We are beneath the VWAP. It looked like we were trying to curl here. I would say if we're going to trade this, maybe stop 294. The reason I'm not taking this here is because we've got the volume compression on the backside. I feel like I'm gambling a little bit, and I don't necessarily want to do that considering I've started 2 for 2 today. So I'll wait till I get a little bit better signal here on ZEO, but worth noting, we did come back into the VWAP. If we recapture that, this thing can go again.
All right, GSIW. I feel like we've seen that one move recently. Not like the today though. That one's really taken off. Started at what, 225-ish, now up to 316.
I will not get you started, Lion. Believe me, we're all here to make money and better our lives. We don't need to get anybody started. That's for sure.
And
That is
GSIW
for sure.
new highs in the regular session,
Man,
341 now.
GLMD.
GLMD found some support and push back up. Okay, cool. We're chewing our way through that supply area.
All right. Looks like T-Bio is trying to curl here again. Let's see if that takes out the VWAP 429. Looks like it was rejected again there. T-Bio. Watch if that falls.
Market Sniper, it doesn't appear to be for me. I'm not seeing anything that would suggest it's a little slow.
SMSI, that was a penny stock that was running the other day. Ooh, we're in dollar territory and it's spiking again. Crimp biscuit all over it.
Nice.
I would say if we take out this 120, let's see if there's a nope. 120 to me is going to be your spot here on SMSI. I think we actually might be able to test 150 if that breaks. Voodoo, hello. How was your move though, Voodoo? How's the new place? How is everything? How are you? We miss you.
And Market Sniper, I will say this: the flatten button that tends to take a little while sometimes because it cancels all of your outstanding orders, and then it goes, "Okay, did all that. Now let's close the position." So that's the only lag I've had.
So that's interesting.
Here we go with GLMD. We're getting through that. Sorry to interrupt you, but we're getting through that consolidation here.
No, but so that's interesting. So I have Thinkorswim, and there's a flatten and a flatten now button. Mm-hmm. And I use flatten now. And when I hit it, it is a market order and you are out. I often use that to get out of day trades.
Yeah, I just noticed that on Webble, the flatten button is a little bit slow.
Interesting. Do you have a flatten now? That might be a little bit more immediate.
I'll have to look and see.
Yeah, look into that.
I didn't recall seeing one on there.
It's totally possible it's not, but it's at least something to look into. Okay. Crow mentioning SGN, that's a penny stock right around 50 cents. This did move through its VWAP, had the expanding volume. I'm going to pass on this one, but good mention here, Crow.
GLMD still looking to break out of 11. And it might get going here.
I'm not in this one, so grats if you're holding this one. This was a nice little move here, GLMD.
And there
it goes. It's popping. Let's see if we get a flush and a pullback here. T-Bio trying to cross that VWAP as we speak.
That was delicious in GLMD. I hope that everybody was trading that did well. Especially I saw somebody that was in there at 9. You did awesome.
He might still be in there. We're going to give some one-ups, some level-ups, and some cash register rings for the group here.
So be looking for 1265 next. See if we get that. MACD looks pretty good. Just need to see this volume maintain. It looks like it might be slowing down a little bit. Don't be afraid to take profits. X-Curve really not doing anything today except going down.
Your move's not till October 12th. Gotcha. Okay. We already looked at Nike, didn't we, Dwayne? I feel like we looked at wasn't this today? We looked at Nike? In the pre-market, didn't you?
I don't think we did.
I sworn we covered this earlier today.
We talked about it yesterday in Happy Hour. That might be
okay. Maybe that's what I'm remembering. Apologies. Nike here is curling back up.
You're right. We did briefly mention that.
Yeah,
outperforming lowered their price target to 109. So that's
yeah. I was gonna say, it's up 2.3% here. I don't really see anything. I mean, I suppose if you want to trade this, I don't know. I'm after something else here.
That one, yeah. Nike, I like better as an investment.
Yeah, we looked at that earlier. Look at RZLV. Wow, all the way back down to that level there. Actually, if it holds here, maybe that's a potential trade area.
GLMD and GSIW are both halted to the upside.
So it's a G day. Oh, look at this move.
Yeah.
Yep, it's a G day. Awesome stuff, folks. You guys are hitting it.
To G day.
A G day, man. We had a V day the other day. We've had I days in the past.
Oh
We've
yeah,
had
the
a G
double I
today.
day.
Yes, sir.
We've had AI days.
Oh yeah.
Just because AI was in the ticker, it ran. That was silly. I enjoyed that. Hey, it's got AI in the ticker. Trade it.
XCur. Wow. So this despite meeting our little pattern there, XCur bucking the trend here. I am going to keep checking back in on this just to see if things turn around, but looks like another leg down here on XCur. See if it holds on to 4.
Yeah, I probably should start looking for some support levels here on this one, but kind of surprised we're not seeing more out of this one. This was I had some high hopes for this one.
Well, yeah, I can do this. So explain float and the importance like I'm 7 years old. Okay, well, I don't know how many 7-year-olds know basic economics, supply and demand, but I'll do my best here. The lower the float, the less shares there are for all of us, not just us in the show, but all of us as market participants to trade. So if there's less supply and the demand is high, you're going to get extreme moves in the price, and this works in both directions. So the lower the float, the more pronounced the move can be on the same level of volume. Let me know if that makes sense.
I think he's just wanting to know about what float is, and so I'll tell you. There's outstanding shares, which is basically how the company's broken up so that everybody has a chance to own one individual piece. Now, if a company has, let's say, 1 million shares outstanding, that's how much the company's been broken up. Now, the float is a portion of those outstanding shares that are able to be traded on the open market. There are some shares that cannot be because they might be restricted units. They might be a different class of shares. They're not able to be traded on the open market. So the open market that what we can see and trade with is going to be the float. So when we're seeing, low floats, like under 1 million shares, and you have like thousands of traders that can buy thousands of shares, hundreds of thousands of shares if they want. That means that this the company's float, the amount of shares that they have on the open market, is going to get traded in its entirety multiple times a day, because you have so many traders going back and forth. So low float is what really can get a stock moving, because there's so little of it to trade that it allows it to get moved around a lot with the different prices people are setting to buy and sell it at. I hope that is a little bit more of a better explanation.
Wally, let us know if that helps there. By the way, T-Bio here, it's still under the VWAP. Not moving yet, but let's see what happens if it takes that VWAP out. 425 is the level that I've got there on T-Bio. Also have a pretty decent bid brought in here at 415. Seems to be supporting it so far. Jay mentioning that pre-market sales win again. So yet again, another reason why I try not to be lured in by the siren song in the pre-market. Jay is absolutely right. From the open here, market really just kind of dipping. Maybe that exuberance from the rate cut is drying up a little bit. Boy, am I glad we locked in some of the gains early on Bro and on the day trades.
Yep. Sometimes, I mean, lately, I've noticed that if you're not, getting the good trades in the morning, that there really aren't going to be a whole lot of opportunities unless you're watching some of the ones that we were trading this morning, because it's usually one or two that will make an intraday move later on. I think what was that one that we were trading? The GLMD, that was one that moved later on intraday. The one yesterday, PRTG, I think that one. We had to wait a little bit after the morning when we opened before that one really started to ramp up. So some of these just they need to take their time after the morning open, and then some of these traders get flushed out and move on to other things. Then it'll start running. So that's something that could happen. GLMD is also open again and going higher. We're coming up to 12.
Yep, indeed. Great call here. JJ saying, how accurate are your float numbers? This is an interesting question. So we actually examine float from multiple different sources. Float is a notoriously difficult data point to hold down. If what you're trying to do is match them exactly to the number, you've already kind of failed. As long as some of those values are in the same range, that's really all that you need to know. We've actually, since we've added float to the Benzinga platform, there are a lot of traders that have monitored and asked about this, and we've actually expanded our coverage by looking at other sources, not just maybe let's call them slower updating sources. So I feel pretty good about them, but just so you're aware, JJ, this is a notoriously difficult data point to get consistent. You will often see varying numbers from different sources. As long as those numbers are in the same ballpark, that should be your takeaway.
And GLMD about to hit 1265. We are at 1243. Might be topping out here, but that was pretty close. I'd still take that win, but we're not pulling back completely yet. So 1265 still might be possible. Wait until we get that actual knife down before we start saying, "Oh yeah, that was the run for the moment."
T-Bio knifing here. T-Bio knifing. So if this continues to break, yeah, we're going to be out the starter here on T-Bio. So 2 for 3 here today. Let me bring up that T-Bio chart, show you exactly what took place here. We were looking for a curl and a move back through VWAP. We did not get it. We got a flush down here. Thankfully, we had a small position that we did not yet add to. So we took a little bit of a lump there, but that's okay. We'll move on. Still green on the day.
There might be, I mean, I'm trying to suggest you get back into this, but there might be a bounce coming in T-Bio around 360 to 365.
Oh, absolutely. I'm going to keep watching this. I don't, just because this moved out here now doesn't necessarily mean that it's done, but the trade plan here was, I'm just going to stick to it.
GLMD blasting through 1265 and
my
up
goodness,
to 1308 now. So does this end up doing the same thing it did a couple days ago? Maybe, but we are we're beyond the all the price action from yesterday. Now we're getting into the day that it ran.
Big B's saying, I sometimes use Float Checker when it's in doubt. Is that site still up? I could have sworn that they closed that site. Feel like they shut that one down. If there's a new one, though, that'd be interesting too. Let me know. So GLMD definitely running here. PRTG was the other one that's also getting mentioned here in the chat. Hey, looks like this is trying to take off too, maybe through 12 here.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the upper shadows are a little concerning around 1220. But you know, if it can break over that, then I think 1309 is on tap. Here we go. So trying to get through to that 1220. You see what I'm talking about with those upper shadows? They're never getting a close above 1220
on PRTG.
Yeah, that's the thing I was worried about, is that we could pop and pull. But you know, 1309 is the pre-market high. Maybe it pushes up there real fast and then pulls.
Fender Fuchs, how do you even find stuff like GLMD? Let me ask you, do you join the show and we start at 9 a.m.? Or do you mostly come in after the show has already started? Because GLMD has been identified prior to the open twice this week alone. We use Benzinga Pro to identify this stuff. We try to identify patterns. There's similarities between stocks that have similar movements. And then we're, of course, perhaps most importantly, constantly looking for news catalysts to drive some of these stocks. So if you missed our rundown on this week, I would suggest, if you can, joining a little bit earlier, and we run through that for you. Benzinga Pro is the tool that we use in order to find that.
Mm-hmm. A lot of brokers have scanners that you can use too. We use Benzinga.
Look at this,
yeah.
Chris. Closing a trade for a $700 profit this morning. I absolutely love to see it. The trifecta here, Chris. Great stuff, man.
RFID was asking GLMD, if I place a stop loss at a limit sell, do you think it may get triggered on the false drop? I think what you're asking is if you place a stop limit, which I probably would not want to. Okay, so you already got it. Okay, you know, especially in after hours or pre-market, stop limits are really what you have to use, but you have to expect the price will hit that specific spot on where you've got your stop limit at. So you know, during a regular session, I prefer just regular stops, because you have to actually hit that limit order in order for it to trigger that stop out.
Smoke Tuna here giving us an alert. Zio, shifted on me. Zio, buy at support. It's setting to go, in my opinion. We are making higher lows here. Vendor Fuchs, got to ask my boss to work less hours then. Hey, man, I feel you on that. Basically, what we did here, again, using Benzinga Pro, we use the movers tool to identify stocks that are gapping in the morning. When we identify those gaps, we can identify key levels based on the pre-market activity or perhaps some of the recent activity that the stock has done. You can see we did the exact same thing here. This was Tuesday morning on GLMD. And then we're also reviewing the news to see if there's a catalyst that moves it. So that's exactly how we're identifying these. Then we're using technical analysis and risk management in order to enter and exit the position. On some of these low floats that really start to go, you're able to get some pretty sweet movement pretty quickly, which is one of the allures of these types of stocks.
Hey,
Yes.
RFID.
Sorry. 1 second. I'll turn it back to you. Tom saying maybe he can try a free 2-week trial of Benzinga Pro. Indeed. In fact, all of you can go ahead and do that. Try it out for free. If you need help setting some stuff up, we've got a whole bunch of really good presets. There's going to be a new version later today that I am stoked for. We can help you with all that. Sorry, 13. Get in there, man. My man.
No worries. RFID, you got stopped out of the GLMD with a profit, I'm sure. Like I was saying yesterday, don't worry about, getting stopped out if you've made a profit on it. That's you protecting yourself.
Yep.
I don't see any downside to that. I mean, look at GLMD now. It has still yet to come back up to 1342 since you got stopped out. Sure, it had a little bit of upside since you got stopped out, but look at it now. If you tried to get back into this now, you probably would be hating yourself. I think you're doing just fine, man. Don't ever be disappointed with yourself for getting stopped out for a profit.
Yep. And that's what some of the, we've talked about this using trailing stops, right? If you use a trailing stop that continues to adjust its way up as the price of the equity moves up, yeah, and then all of a sudden it comes back in and stops you out. Again, the whole point of what you're trying to do there is lock those gains in. There's no, I don't want to assume your tax status. I don't know if you're a mark-to-market trader or whatever, but we'll get into the wash sale and mark-to-market some other time. But you can always, for the most part, rebuy some of these stocks if necessary. Always. Yeah. By the way, ZEO, Smoke Tuna, that is up from Tuna's call. Sure looks like this is going to at least challenge that VWAP there at 314. Tuna, it didn't take long, did it, boss?
Looks like GSIW was also halted to the upside again. I think there was a third halt, as somebody pointed out.
Correct.
Didn't catch who that was, but good mention. 459 is the current high in GSIW.
Yeah, shame on me. Whoever was on the chat on this one, I don't see the name either, but whoever was on the chat, Nick Sanders. Whoever was on this one, really good stuff. I know I switched away from this. We do have a lot moving here today, so I apologize for that. Great job staying on top of it, though. Great job.
Yeah, just to wrap up that.
Conga's out here. Let's go. We're going to get another level up. We're going to give Chewbacca's out here. He's busy today.
Just to wrap up the whole stop out thing, we're really gambling here with these stocks, but we're it's kind of like educated gambling. But if you're gonna trade these kind of things that have this kind of movement and can whip around like crazy, having a stop out and getting stopped out for a profit, that's gonna always be a good thing at any point of the day. It might not be where you want it to, but if you're learning and earning at the same time, and you're not getting greedy and you're paying attention to what you're doing and you're exercising good discipline, you'll have days like this all the time. Don't worry about getting stopped out if you're already profitable. It's never a bad thing in my opinion.
ZEO backed off that spot. We'll see if we set back up for it again here.
Hatchet. I hope that you continue to grow your account, but don't spend all that.
12% in a day is awesome. Doesn't matter what your balance is. 12% in a day is awesome. Terrace, I don't think I know what that means. Is it stupid to hope for T-Bio now? Well, hope is not an investment strategy. So the trade plan here, again, looking at the chart here, the trade plan was for this stock to curl through this blue line, which is the VWAP, the volume weighted average price, and then make another move up. When we broke down and broke through 4, that negated that trade plan. That told us that, hey, we were wrong. So that's where I stopped out of this. Okay. Now, could this hold right here and maybe curl back up to the VWAP? Sure, but that's going to be a different trade and a different trade plan. I am not in it right now. It's actually looking pretty decent. One of the things I would look for here is the volume to expand. You see how when we had this big move right out of the open, that was accompanied by larger and larger and larger buying volume sticks? Look what happens when that stopped. The stick shortened. It actually turned into a selling stick. Look what happened to the price. It came back in. So we're going to try and use all of the information we can get to try and put ourselves in trades. Sometimes they're going to work. Sometimes they're not. When we were right here, we were looking for this compressing volume to expand. It ended up not expanding. It actually turned into selling volume. So we stopped out and we'll wait for another setup here.
Yeah, that's
all about playing the odds.
Yeah.
You're never going to be 100% ever.
Yeah, it looks like it's trying to make its way back to 4. Whether or not it gets through there, I can't say for sure. That seems to be where a lot of this pre-market consolidation comes into play as a resistance area, supply zone, if you will. So we do get back up to 4.
Oh.
That might be about, is it even going higher? 5 now? Wow.
GSIW just took out 5, 13. And here you go. Now, Smoke Tuna does seem to have some type of ESP where he is sensing the future, which is why we're lucky to have him here in the chat. He is telling you he thinks, based on what the chart and how the stock is performing, that T-Bio is likely to go lower.
Yeah, and I think that could end up being the case once it tries to get up to 4, because that's where we get the supply resistance. So I agree with that. I think if you are going to get a trade here, it's going to be 20, 25 cents at the most before it's going to start to head lower.
Michael James, you will get shouted out for this. I was done 2 minutes after the opening bell with 11,000 in profit on half overnight Apple options. Can't beat that. We'll go ahead and give you the trifecta on that awesome overnight trade. Congrats.
That's awesome, because now the sun's barely up and you already have your day over.
Get to the golf course, buddy.
Yeah. So GSIW pulling back now after hitting 520. GLMD still holding above VWAP. And looks like XIII may also be one that goes lower. ZVRA has just done a whole lot of nothing but go sideways. RZLV has been halted for some time now. It might unhalt pretty soon, but doesn't look encouraging.
I can't believe I made, looking at the chart in hindsight, 13, I can't believe I made money on this name. But
you were nimble.
That's the thing about trading. That's why. That's why if you just want to invest, I don't think there's anything wrong with taking a portion of your paycheck and buying S&P stock every week or 2 weeks or whenever your pay period is. What we're trying to do as traders is we're trying to be active and we're trying to be nimble to either just absolutely destroy S&P returns or add to some of our long-term returns, thus making it higher than simply owning SPY. So being nimble is part of what we're trying to do. That's part of the process here. We're trying to capture changes in price, the delta in price, just like this. So ZO moving? Is it really? Let's go. Oh my God. Tuna. Dude, Tuna, hang on. We'll talk about Lunar, but we got to shout out Tuna right here.
Okay.
Look at CO. Is it is trading back up 350? Oh, smoke Tuna, man. I'm going to join you on vacation someday. We're going to both trade from a vacation spot someday, Tuna. And we're going to pay for the vacation from the vacation spot with the trades that we make. I'm sorry, 13. I cut you off again.
No worries. Daddy Backstrap having a good day as well, too, with Palantir and Apple. But I was just mentioning Lunar because we were getting a pop over some of the SMAs. And it looked like it was trying to recapture 775. Not sure how. It's still slow moving, but it looks like it might start to go higher. But at least we got that support from the 750 area.
Here is your Lunar chart.
Yeah. Just wanted to point that out. GLMD trying to push back up. It's looking at 12 right now.
Here's something else I want to point out real quick. You remember when Tuna talked about Zio. He talked about it while it was under the VWAP. I can't remember exactly which candle it is, so I don't want to be wrong. But the point that I'm about to make here is, again, look at the volume. Look what the volume did, right? As soon as this volume started to expand, these sticks started to get bigger. Look what the price did. It moved with it. And furthermore, it actually moved through this key level, which should help it. Really good stuff there. Really, really good stuff there. Another really great call by Smoke Tuna yet again.
Yep.
He's probably, I don't know where he is. He's probably getting a adult beverage about now to celebrate.
Well, he earned it.
Yes, sir.
GLMD. This is trying to get back into the area where we had those wicks. So here it is. She pushing. And ZVRA also, if we get a little volume expansion in ZVRA, that one could also get going up to 824, the intraday high.
Man,
looks like
this has really been a good week. You said it. You said it correctly, 13. You said it correctly.
And you know, got a shout out to Jay Rice with his pie going in the sky. This thing looks like it wants to head up higher than the intraday high of 201.37. Here comes 13 at GLMD. Not talking about myself.
APLT at the highs. Let me put GLMD in focus here. I've had a good day without even trading this yet. Yeah, I'm not sure this is going to be done for the day either. Maybe it backs off this level and gives us another setup. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm not in it for this particular run because I'm not sure about this 13 area, this 13 handle. It was rejected there last time. Last two 5-minute candles. I want to see it get through this first.
Let's look at some of the bigger names here. I know we've been focused on some of these smaller names. A lot of action here today. Look at Apple. Look at Apple after yesterday. Apple up 3.5% here, up $7.50. How about some of the other names? Let's take a look at Meta. Meta's up 2% here today. Not as strong. Here's Netflix. Okay, how about AMD? AMD higher. Someone was mentioning Micron earlier. I think that was Smita. Micron actually having a decent day. You know, this is interesting. Yeah. This gapped higher with the market, gave everything back, and is now trying to bounce. I wouldn't be shocked if that kept moving here. Micron off a fairly decent support level on the daily as well. Sorry, 13. What was that?
Oh, I don't know. But it looks like GLMD got to 1350, and now we're pulling back. This is why I didn't want to get into this, because I wasn't sure about the this particular handle getting taken out. So I'm just looking at some other stuff. GLMD can do whatever it wants right now. I don't have a trade set up for that one for me. Looking at ZVRA, and looks like XCUR is trying to push back up as well. It might have found a bottom. We'll have to see about that one. First thing it needs to do with XCUR, XCUR, is recapture VWAP. What else are we looking at? Tesla.
By the way, I just want to take this time to really shout out our entire video team. There are some people behind the scenes, like Aaron and Alyssa, who you folks know. Also Zunaid. They've really been doing a good job to kind of keep this entire thing running smoothly. I know we do kind of a lot here. We have some shows. The schedule changes often. Big shout out to our team. It's making it real easy on the rest of us to ensure that we have some type of coverage out there. So, we always ask you guys, smash up the like for 13 and I, but do it for the rest of our team too. They're outstanding, and we're lucky.
So Tesla with some moves, making some, let's see, we haven't been, okay, we're in a gap with Tesla right now.
And that gap fills at what, 246? And are 7 points from where we're at?
Yeah. About 245 and 63 cents is where I have that gap fill at. Yep.
Lion, if you check Twitter, you will get to enjoy the little beach hut over the water that Tuna is trading from. So he is doing you one better. I don't know what kind of adult beverage he has. I'll tell you what, he's living the high life. He's making bank while doing it.
You know what? Let's see, who was that? Jay Rice, you're right. Meta did hit an all-time high. I think Meta and NVIDIA, they're going to come in pretty hard at some point. They're the only two of the Mag 7 that have not interacted with their 200-day SMA in over a year. January and February, respectively, 2023 is the last time they actually touched those, and that's pretty far. That's a long time ago. All the other ones touch it.
This was Meta, and what was the other one?
NVIDIA.
NVIDIA. The two monsters.
Yeah, we've gotten close, but have not touched it.
And NVIDIA, man, I am still waiting to break out of this triangle. I really am.
So, yeah, those two, I think they have a lot of movement to the downside ahead of them. Don't know when that's going to be. Could be soon. Not sure. But the fact they haven't reverted to that mean yet in a very long time makes me think that they're overdue to get down there quickly.
Uh-oh, it looks like we've got some reports that Lunar's doing the thing. Here you go. On the relative volume scanner. Oh, man, you guys are right. You folks are right. See if we test 8. Real quickly, Ariel, definitely going to mention this. Live Trading, one of the best shows on Benzinga. We appreciate you. Shout out to the team, but also shout out to the chat. And you're exactly right, because this show would not be what it is without the chat. And that is all of you, whether you're on Twitch, YouTube, or Twitter, X. You folks are what make this place the spot to be. I've made money off of your calls. I know 13 has made money off of your calls, and the entire group has benefited from everyone trying to be on the same page here. Big shouts. Appreciate that.
We got ZVRA slowly moving back up. So looking for 824. That's the intraday high. Looks like
Zillow looks like this wants to go higher here. That's ticker Z. Here's ZVRA.
Yeah. Looks like ours. Did you mention RZLV just a second ago? Yeah, RZLV.
No, sorry, I'm trying to fight off a sneeze here.
That's open and not doing a whole lot right now. PRTG looks like it's trying to recapture or get back up to VWAP. GLMD got as high as 1358 and then turned red, went down for a VWAP retest and is trying to come back up. I don't know what to expect next out of GLMD with this volume. Might be rolling over.
X curve flagging down here at about 4. So again, like I was saying earlier, might not be done. It's taken 2 legs down, so it's likely flushed out some people from yesterday, maybe some new day traders here today. If it continues to flag here and we get a volume expansion move, maybe we close the gap towards that VWAP for a potential trade. So back burner, no position here, but don't need to forget about it. Smoke Tuna mentioning SMSI. This was a crimp biscuit call earlier that was really, really good. This also pushing here, and you can see one of the things with SMSI is that as this thing pulls and comes back to the VWAP, actually gives you another opportunity. So this is why we use this study so much. It's why you hear 13 and I talking about VWAP so frequently. It often comes into play just like this.
Mm-hmm. There we go with GLMD, more downside. MACD looks like it's starting to roll over. If it loses VWAP, then we're probably going to get down to under 11.
Lion here saying, also, I bought some of Tim's recommendations and almost all of them are green. Before we went on, I was telling 13 that the best performing stock, there's 2. The 2 stocks that Tim recommended that are the best performing for me is this medical REIT, ticker GMRE. Not only does this thing pay a 9% quarterly dividend, but it's actually up considerably off the buy price here. I'm actually up, let's see. I'm up GMRE. I'm up a full point, almost a point and a half on the equity while getting paid to hold it. The other one here that has been absolutely outstanding is going to be Starwood Properties Trust. That's ticker STWD. This also, my buy price on this one was $18.50. So I'm up almost 3 full points on this one. Same deal here. This thing pays 9+% dividend. That's why we bring that guy on. I know it's not some of these sexy low float moves, but boy, oh boy, you can make some serious money by holding some of those.
And that is sexy in itself.
That's right. Well said.
Well, looks like GLMD is still getting support from VWAP. Until that breaks down, might be seeing it go sideways. Yeah, looks like getting a little bit of a slowdown here.
As if we didn't have enough action already here today.
Yeah. Who is selling Mag 7s? Let's see. I saw that we had some selling in Meta this week. We also had some of the NVIDIA CEO sell this week.
I feel like he's been selling a ton.
Oh my God,
too.
he's sold so much. He's been selling since June.
Yeah. Oh, so by the way, when we say that, since we're talking about stuff like this, when we say that, this is, and 13, if you have another tip, please stop me and feel free to add it. One of the things that we're doing is there's a tab in Pro. Whenever you pull up a stock, there's a tab in Pro here called Insiders. And when you click on this, it will show you, look at this. He is selling 240K 1,000 share batches every several days here. And he's been doing this since June.
Well,
July 2nd.
I think if you scroll down a little bit more, he's got some more that he sold earlier. If you scroll down some more, because you're in July right now.
Oh,
there you go.
You're right. I beg your pardon, 13.
There you go.
So this guy's been selling a lot. I mean, it just gives you an idea of how many he has. By the way, this thing, despite this is such a joke. Despite selling 240,000 share lots for months, bro still has 105 million shares left.
Yeah. And so he's been selling. Just to see here that
look at Zio, another tuna. Sorry for interrupting you again, but another one of Tuna's call.
There you go. Nice. But yeah, Mag 7 CEOs, they be selling. Oh, look at this thing go. And look at it pull.
Look at that pull. Wow. All I had to do was leave it on screen, pull back to the VWAP. So what does this show us again? Again, don't be afraid or feel bad about taking your profits. Even if the stock doesn't pull back and give you another opportunity to reload and it keeps going, look, you played the odds, you kept yourself protected, and you protected your capital, which no matter what the market is doing, that should always be your number one goal when you show up to trade. Protect your capital. The gains will come if you make smart risk management decisions. Zio, by the way, just in us talking, this pulled right down to 321 and has already bounced 20 cents. This is just... Yeah, I mean, this is just awesome. This is just Funky Cold Stocks is absolutely right. Zio's giving a bunch of opportunities already. Even if you messed up the first one, you had more. Keep your head in the game. Jay, would like to have a discussion with why you're bearish on NVIDIA. And I can actually go to the full screen chart here.
Because all the company has is an idea. You know, they don't make their own chips. That's left to other companies like Taiwan Semiconductor, and they've said this. I don't see the how a company like NVIDIA can be worth, was it $3 trillion almost now? It doesn't make any sense to me. The valuation's absolutely bonkers. There's no way this is this company is worth that much, especially when they're not making the actual chips. You look at Taiwan Semiconductor; they have not the same revenue, but very similar. They're not even worth $1 trillion. How does that work? They're the ones that are making the best chips in the world for NVIDIA, for Apple. I think Meta is also tapping them. You know, they're being tapped by everybody. But I get that their design is, you know, the best, and they make great GPUs. And this machine I'm using right now has got an NVIDIA.
As
GPU.
is mine.
So I'm not saying that I don't like the company or their products, but I don't think the valuation makes any sense. So I think it really needs to come back in.
And I also think that on a macro level, 13, you've talked about this before, you think that at some point in the relatively near future that fundamentals are going to matter again and valuations are going to come back into more realistic levels. And when that happens for NVIDIA, it's not a comment on whether or not the company's worse or bad. It's just the valuations being repriced. The other thing is, if you look at the chart here, I mean, we're making a series of lower highs. We're compressing because we're actually, since August, we're actually making a series of higher lows as well. Eventually, something's going to happen here. going to break out here at some point.
Thinking about it, that's another good point. Their margins are also compressing because TSM is increasing prices. At some point, and it's not 30 times earnings, they're 40 times earnings. This thing is the valuation. It's all about valuations. The valuation on this stock is absurd. I get that they make 30 billion a quarter, but even then, their EPS is starting to compress. Their sales are starting to peak. There's going to be a turnaround, and I don't think that these are going to be the top dog all the time. We might get another company that comes out with something even better, maybe more energy efficient, which is also a big issue right now. Because we don't have the infrastructure to handle all these EVs, crypto mining, and all the AI data centers that we're going to be building out. There's a lot of things that need to happen first. But I get everybody's point about they have a patent on the chip design, but what good is that if nobody can make it? I mean, I guess I just don't think the valuation makes any sense. I don't think it belongs up here. I don't think the valuation on a lot of these Max 7s make any sense.
I'm with you on that.
I think there needs to be a correction on the valuation. That's why I'm bearish on it.
And this is also one of the things, Nick is saying here, without TSM, most of these companies are nothing. Might be a little strong, but the point that you're making there is on. And I think that this is also one of the reasons why we're so sensitive to the geopolitical risk that TSM faces, being in Taiwan and having the feud or the back and forth here with China. It's why we actually follow that so often. Smoke Tuna is now calling XCUR. This is XCUR. Remember, we were saying, hey, maybe watch this one. Maybe it's coming up off the bottom here. No position for me. Sure looks like it's about to take out 460. Maybe make a move back towards that VWAP. We are curling, indeed.
Yep, and we're getting. I have it getting rejected by VWAP at the moment, but we get past that, then there could be some great movement happening here with this one. I think it could get past 5 again. MACD also looks pretty good. I need to catch up on what's been going on after that whole rant about NVIDIA.
All good. Hey, that discussion, hopefully the discussion is helpful. Love having both sides of the argument. That's the way to do it, folks.
Well, Lion Atlas bringing up a good point too. And here's the thing. At some point, you're going to get brain drain out of NVIDIA. They're going to go to other companies. There are some developers that are going to be multi-millionaires.
They're sitting on millions of dollars worth of stock, and they are literally waiting for that lockup period to end.
Yeah, and at that point, there's going to be selling. They're going to be making their millions. I don't think they're going to be sticking around with NVIDIA after that. They may end up going to whoever's going to pay the highest price to have them jump on board and have them develop AI chips. Or maybe they start their own companies.
Yep. Get in at the ground floor, get a bunch of stock again. You're absolutely right, 13.
That's fine, Lion Atlas. We don't have to agree on it. It's just that I don't think that the valuation makes any sense up here. And at some point, some of these things that I'm talking about, they will happen. Now, NVIDIA might end up being fine in the long run. That's what I'm expecting too, but not at this valuation. I think this is better valued somewhere under 100.
Now, this is a really good point too. DKR here saying, I don't disagree with the valuation assessment that you were going off of, but bringing another point into the discussion. Like Apple, I think there is far too much institutional ownership to allow for a dramatic or quick correction to valuation. Now, I would tend to agree with this too. I think that this repricing down to a valuation that makes sense could take a while, and that would be okay. That would be okay. It doesn't need to happen in an instant like that. And I think if it happens slower, it would probably freak out less people.
Hey, Martin, I ain't hating NVIDIA. I'm just trying to be realistic about their valuation. If I hated NVIDIA, I wouldn't own their products or their stock.
Yeah, he literally wouldn't have just bought a new video card from them. Zio, by the way, this was a great call. Whoever mentioned this one. Who was that? Zio popping motion. Dude, it was literally like right here. I know Tuna mentioned it when it came back down to the VWAP right here, popping again. GLMD kind of trading sideways.
Oh, I heard his feelings so now I'm 14.
I was gonna say Lion's out here, man. Lion's spicy today.
Hey, with how much winning we've been doing in this group this week, I think everybody's a little bit spicy, which is fine. Stay spicy, my friends.
And then ultimately, the back and forth on NVIDIA, I'll close it. I'll tie the loop off with this. Ultimately, this is what makes a market, folks.
Mhm.
This is what makes a market. I was going to make a joke there, but it's not. I'll bite my tongue on it.
And I still
Ron,
think
good to see you this morning. How are you,
Hey.
Ron? Snap. Let's take a look at it. Oh, decent move here on Snap. I don't like this company. Otherwise, I'd probably trade it a little bit more. But look at this base that it's in.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, good to see you, Ron.
All right. What are we all looking at now? Seeing a lot of indecisiveness, a little sideways action, maybe a little bit of leaking. Is GSIW getting going here again? We're trying to recapture VWAP. It might be
Yeah,
getting
it sure
going again
is.
here.
And we're actually starting to get a volume pop there. I wonder if this next candle expands above that previous one. That would be juicy. So let me see. Bring this up in my trading window.
My trends tend to be much more bearish. So in the broader market, I've been looking for a more significant correction for some time, especially since we've had this massive run. It's something that I talk a lot about because I'm ultimately more bullish. I want the stock market to continue going up, but to have a healthy market, you're going to need to have these corrections. You're going to need to have these pullbacks. I don't think we've had anything really that significant. We maybe, if you want to count pre-market, we did have a 10% one on that yen carry trade, but I still think we need more than that. It's not that I'm bearish. I'm maybe short-term bearish, but most of my positions are for the long term, and they're for the upside.
Yeah.
I just think that I just want a healthy market, and that's what we need.
And, I'll sum this up a little bit sarcastically here. Sometimes you'll hear from people that the market is rigged. All right. The market is rigged. And indeed, that's true. The market is rigged. It's rigged to the long side. Your chart on good companies, on companies that execute and make good products, they're going to move from the lower left corner to the upper right corner. This is universal, folks. It's universal. So yes, the market is rigged to the upside. That is, I would agree with that. Okay. And so what we're trying to do is, if you take a look at this, like we are trying to time these moves down so that we can be a part of the larger rigged move in the other direction. This is the whole point of being what 13 just said, short-term bearish.
Yeah, I mean, I can pull up a monthly SPY chart and look at that and go, I don't know if I'd be bullish right now with how much we've been going up in such a short period of time. Like, look at the movement we've gotten just this year alone. It's insane. It's, we valuations don't matter right now, but they will one day. And I want to be ready for that. Gosh, since October, we're up almost 40%.
Jay, to your point here, we had a 25% correction in the semis 2 months ago. What more did you want? NVIDIA was 91. NVIDIA was a good buy down there at 91. And it's different now that it's moved up to 120. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Are you asking him or me?
I'm asking him.
Okay.
Because I agree with his. We did get a correction here, and you had a blue chip stock move from an all-time high of 140 to 91. That was a great buy. What you're saying here, you're not giving specific levels like 91, but what you're saying here is you want to see another move down in these names similar to this so that you can buy them for the long side trade. That is literally what you're trying to wait out, right, 13? You're trying to wait out a short-term move down so that you can buy it like NVIDIA was down here at 91 to go back up.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be interested in NVIDIA. Well, maybe not at 91, but at some point lower. But yeah, I think that it's still going to be a great company. I just don't want to own it up here either. Like I said, I don't think the valuation makes a whole lot of sense. Almost $3 trillion.
It was over $3 trillion too when it pulled back. By the way, look at Netflix. This looks like this is trying to go higher. Look at this daily chart. Talk about rigged.
Oh yeah, insurance. That's been a really great one since they've been, extorting, the entire populace over premiums. Insurance companies have given no opportunity for people to get cheaper insurance. It's just, hey, let's all jack up the prices. There's more to it than that, and I understand that, but insurance, man, that has been raking it in this year.
Sure has. I if you take all of the different insurances that I've had over the course of my life, I've not even gotten close to using what I've paid when I actually need it. Zio, by the way, this was another great trade here.
Getting asked about Mara. Bitcoin up 63K and Mara hasn't moved as much.
Bitcoin's been raging.
Yeah, Bitcoin's been raging. Mara got up to 651 and then has been pulling back. When was the pullback in Bitcoin? Because you tend to get these movements with these Bitcoin stocks, shortly after you get the movement from Bitcoin. I see what you're talking about, how we haven't gotten the same kind of activity out of Mara as we had with Bitcoin, because Bitcoin's been pretty much straight up since it held 62,000. I would be looking at some of these other ones. I mean, Mara and CLSK, those are all, these are all day trade stocks. Holding it is going to be up to you. I don't think that we're done seeing Bitcoin go up, so there might be some more upside for Mara. But it's going to be up to you when you enter and exit this thing. I really don't want to tell you what to do with your Mara holdings, dude. I'm sorry.
Coin, the better performer related to Bitcoin.
My passion towards insurance. We'll call it that. Let's call it passion towards insurance.
I want to check out your passion for deep frying a turkey. That's the next passion thing that I need to experience myself.
Oh, I kind of just sit out there and
I know
that's that thing frying.
You know what? One of these days, I'm gonna come down there. We're gonna get some scotch. I'm gonna listen to a cigar recommendation from you. Deep fry a turkey. Talk about the market.
And then tomorrow we'll go have some brisket.
Let's go.
The day after.
Look, you're never gonna hear me turn down brisket. That much I can tell you right now. Big volume in Airbnb. That's not a stock that we have looked at yet today. Let's take a look at that. Ooh, Airbnb higher here. Now, I am sorry, 13. I am nervous about Airbnb because I do think the consumer is going to continue to tighten and spend less on these. But today and recently, this has been a monster move.
Yeah, there are some consequential things that can happen with deep frying. But if you know a turkey, but if you know what you're doing, like, for one, don't do it inside a home.
Yeah,
but yeah,
seriously.
It can be dangerous, but I've been doing it for over 20 years, so I know what I'm doing.
Jay, absolutely. Coin has outperformed here today. If you can literally just take a look at the chart and see how much better this has outperformed here today. In fact, it's up double the amount that Mara is. Double. Hey,
Steve, tell us more about insurance, because I mean, I'm only talking about the being on the side that has to pay you guys. Tell us more. Something that we might not know that we could use for trading. It'd be awesome. A little information that goes a long way. GSIW still trying to work on recapturing that VWAP.
Smoke Tuna, what's this? Tuya, a long-term play for me? Let's take a look and see what this one is. Internet of Things cloud development platform. Enabling everything to be smart. Okay. I like this. I like where the price is right now, too.
I call BS.
It's going to make everything smart, including your toaster.
Yeah. Here, we're getting through VWAP on GSIW. Do we keep going or not? That's what I'm watching for.
Yeah, right through the VWAP there. Took it a couple attempts to get through, but it did. App Lovin, McLovin. Oh, it just, where was that? Where's a firm? Firm's at a 46 handle here. A firm going for some of those highs, all-time highs, perhaps. Where is App Lovin at?
So go Steve, you're on the legal side then? That's my understanding.
Look at this move in App Lovin. Anyone looking for a regression to the mean move here in ticker APP? Maybe this is one to ask Anne Marie about tomorrow. Might do that. Didn't we have someone? We had another one we were supposed to ask Anne Marie about tomorrow. I think it was JP Morgan, right? Yeah, JP Morgan, ticker JPM. How's that doing? I saw Goldman Sachs traded above 500 today. JP Morgan at 210, having a decent day after a couple of days of pulling back here.
Yeah, I was just taking a look at SGN. Crow was saying that one's going. Yeah, 66 cents seems to be where it's trying to break out of. Getting some resistance around that area, though. Some of these just kind of look tired.
XCUR looks like that's coming up off the bottom there.
Oh, look at GLMD now.
Let me go to it. Oh. Again. One more time. It's okay to sell and keep your profits. This has now retraced 50% of this move.
Oh, okay. Thank you for clarifying that, Steve. Go, Steve.
Man, oh man.
LMD.
24% move down in just a few minutes. That's the low float for you. This low float in a picture. Big move up, big move down.
We're in a demand zone now, so GLMD could turn around in this area between what is this 10 to 1050. That pre-market consolidation that we're in, you can pretty much see that around 750 to 8. Yeah, that little demand zone there might spur some buying. I don't know that we'll recapture VWAP, but we might get a pop out of this little range here.
SGN, somebody was mentioning this earlier. This is a penny stock that's bounced off the VWAP twice. T-Bio, what ended up happening here? Okay, so this is consolidating. So this is actually not bad. This is actually not bad. If this doesn't break down again, and then we get any type of volume pop to the upside, this could actually finally give us a trade. It's been really disappointing here today. No position. We'll wait for it to confirm it, but possible here. T-Bio.
Yeah. What he said, but just to me, it looks like it may be headed lower if it does not hold above 280.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, 280 is obviously the intraday low right now, but it looks like this is going to fall through that pretty soon.
This
here.
$3 level, if this moves through 3, here's the 2.
I was talking about RCAT.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was talking about T-Bio. Here, let me bring up RCAT.
Sorry for the confusion.
This is one of Carmen's, right? Carmen loves this one.
Carmen was mentioning it, thinking about it, was mentioning it. This is a drone play, I believe.
Military technology company, robotic hardware. Yep.
That's what that is.
Let me ask you, have you guys ever played with any of those, like the nice drones nowadays? Like, I was just at my friend's house last Friday, and this is actually a kind of funny story. I'll be quick. I'll be quick. Interrupt me if you have something here, because I actually have no positions right now. XCUR, by the way, maybe it's going back to the VWAP. Told you, maybe keep your eye on this. Got the volume expansion. Okay. So with drones, so on Friday, getting ready to go to my friend's house, and he texts me. He says, "Don't get on the expressway because the traffic is crazy." And I was like, "Okay, I'll take another route there." So I get to his house, and I was like, "So what's going on with the expressway?" He's like, "Oh yeah, so a truck crashed, a diesel tanker crashed and spilled diesel fuel all over the expressway." And if you've ever driven on 94 in Chicago, you realize that is a main thoroughfare, and to shut it down because there's flammable liquid all over the highway is going to create a hell of a traffic jam. And so I was like, "Oh my God, that sounds crazy." He's like, "Let's go check it out." I was like, I just got here. I don't want to go check it out. He's like, No. He busts out this drone that's like $1,200, puts it on the ground, turns it on. It just hovers there and it goes, "Home point updated." And he's like, "All right, let's go." And he just flies it up and the remote that he's holding, it has like a super HD screen and an awesome camera. And he's literally flying the thing over the expressway. There's cops everywhere. There's just traffic as far as the eye can see in both directions. And I was like, "This is one of the coolest things I ever saw." He goes, "No, this is the coolest thing you ever saw." Hits the return to home button, puts the remote down on the table, starts fixing up a plate of food. And 2 minutes later, the drone just automatically lands right next to us. I've not seen that before. I was blown away by that. And it's like, I went home thinking, yeah, am I going to have to drop $1,500 on a sweet drone just because I'm a kid that refuses to grow up? Because that's kind of where I'm at right now. Unreal.
I'm kind of surprised that we haven't seen more news broadcasting companies take advantage of drones versus regular helicopters. I'm a little surprised we're not there yet. Now I can understand that for like car chases, but for just a scene that's static in one location, drones should be used.
Replay Game Lab. So much for line of sight rules. Yeah, I don't know what those rules are. Not supposed to fly over people. Well, I don't know what to tell you.
Yes, Lion Atlas, you're absolutely right about that. Now, as far as copper goes, that might be, I might have a couple of question marks regarding that, because copper had some pretty big demand during this big EV boom, because there's a lot more copper that goes into those EV cars. That's starting to, that's sliding. So I don't know that we're going to, see a lot of robustness in copper. I get that, being that the miners are leveraged, that could do really well for them. But the demand for copper, I've noticed, is sliding a bit. Might see it return with new home builds, as a lot of copper goes into that. But I think we're starting to see a little bit less demand as a result of EVs coming out of favor.
Oh,
this
one
one I've noticed.
One more thing, Fairchild saying serious laws from the FAA. Indeed. In fact, if you take this exact same drone, he demonstrated this for me too. And he's like, if you try to fly this above the legal flight level, the drone stops you. So he just took off, just kept going up and up. And then on the screen, it's like FAA flight laws prohibit the drone from flying above this level. And it literally won't let you fly any higher. Pretty sweet. Some of those really nice drones, pretty sweet.
Line, I don't need to. I'm already in it. But great mention.
MP. Oh, yeah. It's funny, but you mentioned this to me this morning.
Yep.
MP.
Yep. It's rare earths and certain minerals become more scarce and harder to obtain with certain countries and export controls. We're going to need to improve those supply chains. And I think MP is going to be one of those winners that ends up doing very well from the U.S.'s demand for rare earths and other minerals. Yes, great point, Voodoo. The costs of maintenance are much lower for drones versus a helicopter. Absolutely.
Indeed.
And folks mentioning, I think I saw ZEO. That one's still trying to get back up to 4.
Which one? Which one? Sorry.
ZEO.
ZEO.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of these movers from this morning, they're starting to move a little bit again, just slowly. The volume's not what it was earlier.
Market coming in off those 571 highs earlier, back just down to 570.
Arcad has been hiring a lot. Okay. Okay, it's a good point, Line.
Nice little move on Palantir. I expect that to trade up next week after it joins the S&P tomorrow.
Yeah, Funky, I think it's looking kind of like it might be finding some support in that that area we were talking about earlier. Let's see it get back above 11. That would, I think, be the first step, and then view up would be next.
RFID trader saying, guys, this is the sad time of day. Only 12 more minutes with you guys. I do feel that. I've got some bad news and some good news for you. Of course, we're going to start with the bad news. The bad news is that you actually only have 7 minutes left because Zunaid is going to join us at 10:55 before we transition to the next show. But the good news is that you can be with us all day long if you are part of Benzinga Pro, because Benzinga Pro has a chat channel dedicated to our happy hour crew, which also incorporates an absolute ton of the live trading crew because there's a lot of overlap in that. So RFID trader, I'm sorry to make you sad, man, but we will be back tomorrow, and there are other options available to you.
Yeah, just looking at shop, Smita was asking about any thoughts on how high it can go.
Let me get my bigger chart here for you to do that.
Yeah, so right off the bat, I'll just tell you that it has been having a time getting above the 50-day estimate. I'm sorry, I'm on a monthly chart. Hold on. Let me back up. Okay. So it looks like there is a particular resistance level at 80. If I draw a line across there, I can see that that has been previous support and resistance, and we're headed up to that level. That's the next one I have in the way of the price that could be resistance. Now, if we break past that, then I have levels at 83 and a gap fill that starts at 84.05 and fills at 88.98. So that would be the upside targets I'd be looking for in that. As for how high it can go, I don't know exactly. We are getting a bit of an extended RSI here. It's up to 68. So if we do end up breaking over 80, I think that might be the time to start taking profits in Shopify, at least a little bit, because I think that RSI at that point will be a little bit more extended, and there might be a risk of selling happening a lot more in that one as a result. Hopes that helpful.
Good breakdown there on Shopify.
You got anything to add?
As far as I was just kind of looking at a longer term chart here, I do think that one of these, like this big pronounced move that slowly grinded up to 175, I feel like this happened on the back of COVID, right? Shopify, one of those people thinking they're never going to go out again, blah, blah, blah. We're just going to have stuff delivered to us. Shopify definitely benefited from that. And then really had kind of this move down here. Those levels you identified pretty good. Above that, I would say 93. If we can take out this little high here. Oh, excuse me.
GSIW mentioned by Webcoin, that is popping up to 560 now, new intraday high, creating a bit of a scallop here. And
we'll do that, but really quickly here, Crimp Biscuit's been on SMSI all day. This actually looks like this is trying to take out 135 to the upside. You said GLMD or GSIW?
GSIW.
Here you go. Oh. I'm sorry. I was late to this 13. That's on me.
That's okay. He mentioned it, I think, well before we even got that first candle through VWAP and up here to 5. He mentioned it just before all that started happening. And yeah, don't chase. Absolutely.
Ankit, this is a decent question here. Ankit's saying, do you guys think the unemployment number is higher than the data shows? Because people who get fired just do stuff like DoorDash and never show up in the unemployment rate. I could see that, but I think you had Powell say yesterday that one of the reasons the unemployment number is the way it is because of the mass amount of people entering the country that are taking some of these jobs. He literally said that yesterday. In fact, I have a clip saved somewhere.
Which is surprising because he said the quiet part out loud.
Yep. But if anyone else has any thoughts on that for Ankit, I'd definitely share.
Yeah, I think the way that they measure, unemployment probably needs to be updated.
I would agree with you,
because there's certain things that I don't know how they measure. Like how do they measure somebody who's working 2 jobs, or in some cases 3?
And I think Chris or Big B's here. They account for that in the quits number.
So there's no one. I mean, I don't think that you're getting the whole picture with the way the current job numbers are. I think it's not showing enough of the information. I think it's not showing the true picture. And I know there's other metrics we can look at, like U3 and U6 and whatnot, but I think it needs an update. It's an outdated system, and it doesn't account for the jobs that are available today and the way today's workforce is.
There is no try. Again, awesome Star Wars reference here. The 4 stocks given by your guest, it's actually Tim, but very close, yesterday, are up an average of 4% here today. Pretty good timing there. We do like Tim a lot. Oh, this has been a really good morning so far.
And we certainly got a little bit of a bounce with GLMD. Still hasn't been able to recapture VWAP, even though it did get back up to 11. It's just looking so far so
Ooh.
good with GLMD.
Well, yeah, watch that VWAP level there, especially with a volume move through it.
Yeah. XIII back down beneath VWAP. A little bit of a pull on this one. Not so much a knife, but maybe it's a letter opener. But it's definitely lost VWAP there. Zio still not able to get back above 4.
Zio gave us multiple trades already. It's house money at this point.
Okay, here we go.
SMSI still waiting on that 135 break to the upside.
And GLMD still trying to get back up to VWAP. I have that at 1155. I think yours might be a little lower.
Yeah, I've got it at 1103. I've got this maybe moving right through it. It's literally being rejected right there.
I have other EMAs right in that area, so that's what it looks like it's getting rejected by. But as long as we have something that's preventing it that we can both see, I think it works. Now here's a third 5-minute candle. So this would be the one that I think would be testing my VWAP at 1155, and I don't know if it's going to break above this or not. I think the volume's a little bit too light to really push this up further, but just watch for that expanding volume. Maybe it will push through it. I just at the moment it doesn't look like it.
Pretty decent day across the board here. Pretty decent day across the board.
It certainly has been.
The Crow is saying, I bet Zunaid has a fresh haircut today that cost $50. That is awfully specific, Crow. We'll ask him when he shows up here.
IMRX trying to hold above VWAP now. This one may, we've talked about this one. This actually had a nice pop out of the gate, but then it dropped. This is one to watch, I think.
Yeah, this is one that we've traded before too, 13.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And I think this one looks like it's making a run for 250, and it wants to get above 250. That's been kind of a bit of a rejection area this morning. And when I look at the price action from yesterday, 250 was giving it quite a bit of support. 250 IMRX. That's what I want to see break down or break up. GLMD still trying to get through 11.
SGN was that penny stock. T-Bio, man, that has been really disappointing on T-Bio. XCUR did try to go back to the VWAP, but couldn't. And it did have a volume pop that took it there.
Jay Rice, Walmart, in my opinion, really needed to come in. That thing was super extended. But some of these other defensive names, I guess the rotation is out of the recession stocks. The names that everybody wants to get in if we're going to be seeing a weakening consumer, which, I still think we are. Just because we got a 50 basis point cut doesn't mean that consumer is suddenly all better now.
It's like a crisis level cut because everything's so great.
That's a cut that basically Fed, tell us that you're late without saying that you're late.
Well, he also said that he said we could have gone in the previous. Yeah, he also did that too. So
I know. I remember him saying that
that's funny.
July, we could have cut in July, but we didn't have the data, and we're data dependent.
And now we do, and we're going to continue to be data dependent, meeting by meeting, day by day.
So guess what? They're going to continue to be late.
It is their MO.
Absolutely thinking about it. Crimp Biscuit saying SMSI still moving up.
Yeah, did it take out that? Oh, I thought I clicked on it, but maybe my list changed. Oh, it did. It broke that. Hey, Crimp Biscuit. Did it all for the nookie. Look at this as it continues to break out of this 135 spot that we just talked about. You were on this all morning, Crimp Biscuit. Let's go.
It's his way or the highway.
Sezzle, this was one of Tim's recommendations yesterday. It's up 5.5%. Here today. Remember, the plays yesterday from Tim were momentum plays. So they were looking to continue to go here. SMSI. Wow, that was the biggest volume candle of the day too, wasn't it? Oh, not quite. Almost.
Thinking about it asks, when does inflation explode again? I would say when we get more rate cuts. I think as we start to cut in some more, and rates, then we've already lost the 5%. Now we're based on the Fed's dot plot and their what they released. It looks like we're probably going to end up with maybe 100 basis points cut this year, maybe more. Hey, Zunaid.
Oh, there he is.
What's up? Good morning.
We have a question. We have a
yeah.
question for you.
Go
were you
ahead.
here? Did you hear?
I saw it. Yeah.
Did
The
you get a
haircut
yesterday?
No, I got a haircut on Sunday, I believe.
Does that count? Who asked the question? You'll tell
Crow.
us. Yeah, it was Crow. Crow, does that count? Does a fresh haircut count if you got it on Sunday? Because if so, you're 1 for 1. Did it cost $50?
The haircut, beard, tip, everything does cost $50 on the dot. Yes.
Okay. So Crow, you tell us if that is still fresh. If so, that was a monster prediction that Zune just confirmed for you in real time.
I did.
I got one yesterday too, but you can't tell.
I'm getting one today.
Yeah, the headphones cover it for you.
Yeah.
But all right, so here's what's coming up, and I'll give you guys the final thoughts here and your final words. So,
amazing.
As you guys know, we've got the trading competition going on, and one of the reasons I love this competition, outside of the fact that you get to try to win $30,000 and no risk whatsoever, is the fact that you get to interview other traders that are doing well in the trading competition and see what their strategies are, what their thought processes are. So right now in third place, we have Kabir, who is up as of yesterday, $53,000 on the $100,000 paper trading competition. So we're going to bring Kabir on. Yeah, we're going to bring Kabir on from Option Swing to talk about what his strategies are, what he's been trading, what tickers he's looking at, for this week, next week. And just the best way to describe it is it's two dudes talking charts, talking trading with a bunch of people watching online.
Just like here.
We used to do. It's one of our favorite
things. That sounds awfully familiar.
I know. I feel like we've been doing that for like 5 years now. But anyway, 13, Ryan, any final thoughts from y'all?
Enjoy the day. Enjoy the day. It's been a great week. We'll see you tomorrow. I'll keep it simple.
Folks, keep up that discipline. It's been serving you really well this week so far. You guys have been killing it. I'll see you tomorrow. We'll kill it some more.
All right. See you folks later. Let me go ahead and bring on. So here's what I was talking about, right? Here's a competition. I'll put the link in the chat here in a moment. If you haven't already, you should 100% sign up. You get a chance to win up to $30,000. It's 100% risk free. You don't have to risk a single penny. It's a paper trading competition with real cash prize attached to it. And here's your leaderboard as of yesterday. So you can see Kabir, who we're going to bring on here. Kabir, give me a thumbs up so I can bring you on. Awesome. What is going on, my man? Good morning to you.
Hey, Zane. Good morning. Happy to be here.
Sweet, man. So yeah, I was just talking about how you're in third place at the moment, which I think if you finish there, you would get $500 and a year of Benzinga Pro. But if you go ahead and finish first, you get $5,000. And of course, there's more prizes as you go to contest number 2 and 3 for a chance to win up to $30,000. But how's the competition in general been for you? I don't know if you've done other ones, but how's this one been for you, man?
I haven't done with Benzinga before, but I really like, I think this is my favorite one so far because TradeZero, first of all, great platform. And I like that you can sign in and kind of see the leaderboard every day and see how you're progressing. But and especially what I like about, my favorite thing about competitions is that it kind of takes the edge off a little bit. You can have more buying power. If it was 100,000, my own buying power, I probably wouldn't have bought the same kind of contracts that I did yesterday.
Right.
I would have bought the same contracts, but not 100 of them.
The quantity of them, yeah.
Yeah. So a bit more risk loving, and it paid off yesterday. Yesterday was a great day. I'm seeing some other individuals who, I feel like had the same mindset as me and had went in with heavy buying power. The first guy's up $80,000. So congratulations to him.
And that's the way, some people will look, I'll be honest, some people will go ahead and just kind of YOLO and go from there. But there are other individuals who, like you said, the strategy is there. The quantity may change, right? So the strategy of, okay, this is what I would take in my normal account. Maybe I would have taken 3 shares, 5 shares, 5 contracts, 10 contracts, whatever that is, would have been the same. It would have, it's the quantity of contracts that you're changing. By the way, JJ's asking, can you still sign up for this? Yes, you absolutely can. All you need to do is trade 5 trading days for the contest. So I think October 7th is technically the last day for you to sign up for contest number 1. Then we'll have contest number 2. Then we'll have contest number 3. So there's a link in the chat. Go ahead and sign up if you haven't already. But Kabir, go ahead and share your charts if you'd like. You can share your trading view. You can share whatever screen you'd like, and I'll bring it up. And then let's talk about, maybe a trade that you took yesterday, but we'll only spend a couple of minutes on that because I want to talk about trades that you're looking at right now for the folks at home to kind of take advantage of as well. And again, if you haven't already, 100% risk-free, win up to $30,000. You can get a chance to tour the New York Stock Exchange. You get lunch on us. You get a lifetime of Benzinga Pro if you win. A lot of good stuff there. If you have any questions, you can always email me at zunaid@benzinga.com. All right. If you want to share your screen, man, you can go to, there you go. Perfect. You want me to bring it up? Let me make sure. I think you've got some chat on the right. I don't know if you want to show that, if you're okay with me bringing it up.
The chat.
Charts, and then
I think
your watch list. Never mind. I didn't
yeah,
know.
that's just my watch list. Yeah.
All right, cool. Here's what you've got on your trading view. Talk to me about what we're looking at and what you're seeing from the interpretation of the charts.
Okay, so just a quick rundown of my charts. First of all, I don't like the red and green bias, so my candles are blue and white. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it.
It helps. Like a lot of it is psychology, so that's why you're going to see these colors for my candles. Also, I spend a lot of time focusing on the wrong things, which is like, indicators and patterns, and I think that's just noise. So what I'm basically looking for, I will spend the weekend marking out my levels and finding my important levels of support and resistance. And, depending on to which level they're breaking, I'm going to take a position and hold it. I like scalping. I don't want to hope for more. So I will get in and get out pretty fast. Like my trades yesterday, I sold them in minutes, if not seconds, some of them, right?
Yeah.
Especially because you're not going to get a day like yesterday again with the right before the rate cut. So what I saw yesterday, this is let me see the opening candle. We opened somewhere here, right? 930. We were hovering about 474. I had this level marked out. I wasn't confident that we're going to break above, and I wanted to see a test of this level right below at 472.2. Yeah. So I waited, and call it intuition, but I had a feeling that at least into 2 p.m. until the rate decision, we're going to see some sort of a run up, right?
Yeah.
So I got in at my level here. I bought SPY. I bought QQQ 474 calls expiring the next day, which is today or at that point. And then I bought some SPY calls at the money calls at around 560, 561, 562. I'll share my chart in a bit.
Yeah.
But I had, like I said, paper trading, right? So my risk was a bit higher, but strategy was the same.
Right.
So I got in here and I took off some contracts at my next level. And just to kind of, I had maybe 30% of my contracts remaining because I wanted to ride it through. If I took a loss, it's kind of, I already made some profit. So I held on until 2 p.m. and we just saw this huge, absolutely huge run up, right? And like I said, I take profits fast. So when we kind of crossing 46, I put in a limit order to close both my SPY and my QQQ calls. And those made me about 30,000 on the paper trading competition. And then I also reversed it from the top down, got to some of my levels at the bottom. Pretty much, if I got in, I left my runners. I said, this is where I entered initially. If I can just sell here, I'm more than happy. So I let my runners run, and that was pretty much it. And I ended the day with, a decent chunk of change.
Nice. All right. So you went ahead and, kind of scalped it, it seems like, within minutes, like you said, minutes or seconds of, the movement of this charts itself. What tickers are you kind of taking a look at now? Like what setups are you looking at? But matter of fact, hold on real quick. Are those alerts on your screen?
So I keep them dashed just so I can see through the levels, but these are all just, they're just dash.
So there are levels. They're not alerts. They're levels.
Yeah, they're not alerts.
Okay.
I'm pretty much watching the charts all the time. I am the alert sort of thing, but
love it. So, okay, let's kind of zoom out for a second. Are you, when you say I give you a ticker, right? And I say, hey, can you chart this for me? Are you looking at the weekly first and then the daily? Are you looking at monthly, weekly, daily? Like what's your process there? If you could give me a few minutes of insight there.
So a really good trader buddy of mine taught me, he spent a lot of time and he trades futures. And he kind of told me, the way I've been thinking about it recently is you got to make each timeline's profile. So if you can start off with profiling the daily candle and getting an idea, like looking at a trade without knowing where you want it to go and what your stop loss is and where, your target is, then it's pointless, right?
Yeah.
So analyzing, profiling your daily candle. So what I'll do is I'll look at the daily. I'll kind of get an idea of where we're going to head from here. Then I'm going to look at, so if I'm looking at, maybe I'll open up a new ticker that isn't, full of lines, but
here, let's see if let me see what my charts are. Yeah. You know what? I want to talk Robinhood because this is something where, they have an event that is happening, I believe it's October something, I think. So let's check that out. Let's go ahead and mark up Hood, and then I want you to share your TradeZero platform as well. And then if you were to place a trade, I don't want you to place a trade just because you're on the show, but if you like something on the chart, I'd love to see you place a trade on the platform itself. But talk me through how you would go ahead and mark this up here.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't take a trade today because I wanted that 153 to be sitting pretty. So I
don't blame you, but that's the thing, though, right? Let me talk about like the psychological aspect of it. This is a paper trading competition, and you're already thinking that when you're trading real money, you're also kind of like, okay, I'm up on the day, I don't want to mess with this, or okay, I made a lot of money, I don't want to do this. But on the flip side, you also have people that are like, oh, you know what? I made $2,000 yesterday. I can go ahead and risk a little bit more because I have a buffer from yesterday. And that's unfortunately how you get into trouble. That's where you have the domino effects. And, it just like, look, I'm sure you weren't profitable right off the gate. So I'm sure you've dealt with the FOMO aspect and, oh, let me go on tilt, or I can't lose 5 in a row. So I'm going to double down here. And what do you know? It's 6 in a row next time. You know what I mean? So I'm glad you brought that up because, yeah, look, even in a paper trading competition, when you're up and you know that you've got a chance to win up to $30,000, you're kind of like, okay, let me be smart and let me only take the trades that are A+,
100%. I mean, I think this took me maybe 4 years to understand and not fall into that trap. But I think that's the biggest key is like you need to be most on watch when you're actually in profit, right? Mm-hmm. Because that's when you're like, okay, I have a buffer, and then you keep making too many mistakes, right? So I mean, I could have easily gone and said, hey, you know what? Hey, before the call, I have 2 hours, let me just make it 180,
Yeah.
I didn't see any of those setups. And also
I love the discipline, man. That's awesome.
I think discipline is what the main thing is about being consistent, is that you need to have a lot of discipline. Yeah. And if you can if I have a really big day, especially in my own personal accounts, I like to take a little time off, just chill out for a bit and remanage.
I like that. I like that. Okay, let's do this. Let's talk about Hood in terms of charting. Then I'll ask you some questions about your actual trading account in terms of like risk management. I don't need to know dollars, but I'd love to know is it what your R to R is and different things like that. So we'll nerd out, we'll geek out, but go ahead and break down Hood's chart for me if you don't mind.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the daily chart that I just opened up here. I do want to quickly look at the weekly to see if there's any levels above. I've never traded Hood.
Okay, you go. Oh, I think your internet might be lagging on me a little bit. Chat. Let me do this. I'm gonna put you down here, Kabir, real quick, because I think your internet might be lagging just a bit for me. If you want, you can kind of log out and come right back in, and then we'll kind of get you brought right back up. So let me go ahead and share my charts here instead for a moment. Let me see. I'm waiting for your camera to catch up here. Give me a second, Kabir. Kabir, give me a thumbs up. Yeah, it looks like you're lagging just a bit. If you want to go ahead and kind of log out and come right back in, that might work. But I'll go ahead and go through Hood from my lens, and then we'll bring Kabir right back on. Give me one moment. All right, cool. Here, let me text Kabir real quick. All right, looks like he's gonna go out and come back in. But here's like, I'm not gonna lie, chat. You know that in my own personal account, I had $20 calls for Robinhood going out to January because I loved the transfer amounts that we were seeing over to Robinhood with the match that they're doing. I love the Robinhood Gold credit card that they're coming out with. It is sick. I look forward to getting my own. And then you also saw on social media that they had screenshots of like, oh, futures cost this much in terms of fees. And it's like, hold on a second, wait a minute. So different things like that. But here you have Hood, like the chart, like what's happening here. And let's kind of go back out a little bit. When it came to this was after earnings, by the way. This was after earnings. That it dropped all the way down to 14. It got me nervous. When it came right back above 18 or so, I did go ahead and get out of all of mine. I am a little bummed about it, but we love transparency here. So I did go ahead and get out. Now, then I went ahead and in my trading, paper trading competition, I did go ahead and get back in. And now I'm kind of moving up to the upside. And now if we break 25, if we break 25, I think we can see some movement to the upside in that. Kabir, go ahead and share your charts. All right. And then, yeah, I think worst case, if it lags again, we can just not have your camera shared, but your charts and your audio is still good to go. But anyway, that's kind of why I like Robinhood in terms of the chart. I don't use their broker. The only broker that I currently use is TradeZero's. And then my Roth IRA is with another one. But in terms of my day-to-day trading, I use Zero Pro. I like it. It's speedy. I can get direct access. But that's the chart that I have. Let me go to bring you on again. Sorry about that, man.
No, my bad. I don't know what happened there.
No worries. Give me a sec. It looks like someone has a link that kind of caused an issue. So let me get them a right link here. One moment. Let me paste that. Okay. I posted a link in the chat again for There Is No Try. If you want to go ahead and try that one again, if you have any issues, again, email me. I will get you all taken care of. My email is Zunaid, my first name, @benzinga.com. Let me share your screen one more time. Okay. Robinhood. I want to talk about the chart itself, not necessarily the fundamentals, but talk to me about what you're seeing here.
Yeah. And also, real quick, to add on to your point about TradeZero, it's very speedy. I first time using them, and the options trade, they were going through pretty quick.
Nice. Yeah, it's that direct access that I really love, and you can route whichever way you want. If you want to get rebase, yada yada yada. So
yeah,
that's awesome. All right, break this chart down for us.
Okay, yeah. So I opened the weekly to see, just mark. So let me get rid of this. So this is somewhere that would be, previous support becomes resistance, right? So we do know that over time there's a probability of it going higher. So now when I profile my daily, I have sort of a range to work with on the upside. I do see this as so now I just want to profile some daily levels, right? So this is going to be my sort of, this is my top line. And then this would be, where I'm actually, if I zoom out a little bit more, this is where I kind of want to call, not even below this. I think this is in, I would think
this was after earnings. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would think of that as an outlier in this situation, and consider this to be my support level, just because of, earnings and extra volatility. But you can see here, previous in the past that was the area to break out from, and this is the area that it wants to hold as support. So, for me, this is kind of noise. I'm going to keep this as my level here.
Okay.
Now, I've profiled kind of the range that I have in from a daily lens, right? And just from the first look here, I don't like head and shoulders patterns or whatever, but what it has taught me is that, if this is my point of interest here, then what's happened before is equally as important as what's going to happen after. Yeah. And if we have found resistance here, I think this is going to be pretty heavy resistance here as well. So now going forward, we've clearly come down from here. Now I want to see how far down we can go. So I'm going to check out my hourly. Hourly isn't really telling me much here. I want to look at 30. Let's even go a bit earlier, 15. So now that we're trading under VWAP, right? I don't, unless it breaks up, I'm not going to be confident. By the looks of it, so I'm kind of a bit bearish here, and then I'm going to make some intraday levels right where I want to see, because I trade options. So for me, even a $1 move or 50-cent move sometimes for a scalp is all I need. So this would be my target if I'm going on puts, and that would be this previous high would be my next target, and that's all I really need for intraday, right?
Yeah.
So now I got my levels here. Now, if we do break to the VWAP, I would want to play this 24 level here.
Okay.
Right. And I would look at 24 strike, either weeklies or maybe next week to be safer, just because it's on the high up. But since I do have more momentum on the downside here for today, I would probably pay weekly puts at this level or this level. So that's kind of how I would go from profiling, getting an idea. I mean, this is just really quick, right? But this is how I go about it over the weekend when I'm looking at tickers.
I gotcha. Let me ask you this: are you using Zero Pro right now, or are you using the that version? Okay. If you don't mind, share your Zero Pro, because I'm curious how you have your setup. If you want to share it, I want to see where your charts are at, your level 2s, and different things like that. So this is your setup on the.
So this is my stock setup, which I'm not really using. Right. Yeah. I am looking. I do like level 2 data. It kind of helps me understand where, the most of the money lies. So I will look at it. But then I'm going to switch over to my option side here. Honestly, I only traded QQQ and SPY so far. I was also a day late to the challenge, so I haven't had time to make it more sort of personalized to me. I've been using what the default was, but the way I'm just going about it is I only trade at the money contracts.
Okay.
I don't like going with this kind of paper trading competition. I could do sort of in the money and just ride those up, because those go up exponentially higher the more and more money you go into. But I've been looking at the money contracts. Whatever leg I want to select, I'm looking at it here. Looking at this overview, seeing kind of where we are on the scale, how much closer I need to get for break even.
Yeah.
And so far I've been playing. I've only had really, I think, a day of trading on this, so I only did single leg. But I would want to switch up the strategy to maybe playing some straddles or, spreads. Just to capture some moves on days where you don't know where the market's sort of heading. I think after yesterday, we should have some clear direction.
Yeah.
But the market being the market, I don't like to presume anything.
Yeah, you've got, let's see here for a second. Okay. I'm looking at, matter of fact, this is actually, I'm going to share my charts here for a moment. So this is what I have on the Qs, right? This is, we're coming up right against that resistance that we saw on August 22nd. So on August 22nd, we saw a little bit of a pop up and then this dramatic drop down. And now we're bumping up against that. So to me, if we're going to continue higher, obviously we have to get through this level, but that's a level to keep in mind in case we want to pop above and base there and kind of hang out with that, is where I'm kind of looking at it on that side of things for the Qs. Now, how would you, so when you see a resistance area, like I'm bringing up on the Qs, right? How are you as a trader, whether it's on this day side or swing trader, how are you attacking this? Are you waiting for a break and then a retest? Are you waiting for a break and then a base right above that level? What are you kind of looking at?
So something that I realized recently is like I changed the way I look at green candles and red candles. Green candles. So basically on your chart, right, where you have the resistance level, there's a previous area where it bounced back down from, right? So we can go down and then create a swing high. But right after the swing high, when it breaks that previous high, people usually assume breakouts or look for retests. But more often than not, it doesn't. It just breaks and then comes back down and comes all the way back down to make a higher low on a much larger time frame, right? So I mean, institutional and buyers and sellers and market makers, they know that your stops, if you're short, is placed right before the previous high, and they know that your stops are placed right below a previous low if you're going long, right? So those are points of control, and that's where people really want to fall for a breakout and get trapped in that liquidity. So I'm looking at, as a candle is going higher and higher, I'm thinking that a lot of the market makers or big hedge funds are putting in their short orders at then and coming in heavy, because every time you're buying something, there's another opposite party that's ready to sell you those contracts or those shares, right? So when this kind of stuff happens, I'm on high alert. I think it makes that swing high and then comes right back down. So that would be an entry for me to go short, because at that point I'm already too late.
And that's something that you have to kind of deal with as well. It's like, okay, so let's talk about R&R in your own personal life, in your own actual trading money account, right? I want to kind of, again, I don't care about dollars and other things like that. I want to learn from you, what's your R&R? What's your risk reward typically like? Because to me, say if you want to get entry at 100, but unfortunately the stock just breaks through 100, it's at 101, but your target was like 101.50. Back in the day, noob old me would go ahead and get in and be like, oh, I could still maybe get 50 cents. But then my risk reward would completely throw things off. So that's something I had to learn the hard way. How are you kind of managing your risk reward when you're getting into trades, especially, let's talk day trading?
Yeah. So, I mean, to add to your point there, like entry is everything. If you don't get your entry, then your R&R gets messed up and there's no point even in taking that trade. Because what happens is that, because you entered late and your TP is at, your target's at 101.50. but now your psychology's messed up. You're like, hey, you know what? I got in late, and you start kind of becoming, I don't want to say delusional, but hopeful. And then you think that, you know, maybe I'm just going to hold it a bit more. And then the reversal happens and it goes completely against you.
Yeah.
So I like taking trades with, I think I want a 2R at least. That's going heavy, right? If I'm doing stocks, it's not the same thing. But if I'm trading options, and I trade options, I trade, I don't know, maybe some people are going to hate me for saying this, but I trade leverage crypto as well.
Okay, nice.
So clearly you can see that I'm on the risk loving side. I've also recently started doing futures, which has been very good. I think NQ and ES have some of the cleanest price action, and being, you know, and going in with a risk reward mindset in futures is very easy to do. You know, it's also a similar thing. It's not your money, you're getting funded, right? So you're using certain lots. All you got to do is make 1 to 2% every day. So that, I really like trading with the risk reward mentality there.
Yeah.
With options, it's kind of hard to do that. But I think the major thing for me when I'm trading options is just to have clearly identified levels. And if I don't get my entry, to not take any trade, because then it's just going to mess up you know, my entire R to R. But what I'm for options specifically, because you are risking a lot, I want to see at least a 2R trade, which might not be true for less risky assets.
Yeah. So here's what I'm doing. You have my chart up at the Qs, right? I'm actually going to place my order here in a moment. So you've got Qs coming up at the resistance level that I have at 485, right? Let's call it 485.50. So if I want to go ahead and go at, say, 485.50, I'm actually going to, this ends tomorrow. Let me go ahead and grab maybe, say, 10 contracts, send it, see if we're good. One moment. There we go. Fix that, send that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and try to get into some puts here on the Qs. What are your thoughts? Do you like the trade? Do you not like it? Do you feel like, hey, you know, you'd rather wait for a pop above and a fake out below to kind of give you more confirmation? How would you trade this if you were to? I'm not saying you have to, but just give me your insights, because it's always good to get it from other people.
Yeah, 100%. So basically, I mean, I'm just looking at the 5-minute right now, and I don't think that puts are a bad idea at all, especially that the way this candle is progressing. The only thing is that we did sort of come down to VWAP, right? And then bounce right up.
Yeah.
So to me, that is an indication of strength. And, you know, zooming out, we are still bound for sort of this swing high, right?
Yeah.
Where we break above the past high temporarily and then come back down. It's going to be very fast. But, you know, in the shorter term, that could be a good move, especially for options. So I think I'm personally a bit bullish here. I think we make a quick move up before coming down because of that swing high that I'm looking for. So it's not a bad trade, especially if you have more time on your contracts. It is a pretty heavy point of resistance here, but I think we do have a pop up and then down just to make that swing high on the larger time frame.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to go ahead. I mean, here's where my stop loss would be, right? For this one, for me, I'm going to go into 15-minute. And here's another thing that you kind of already mentioned is that it's already come down to VWAP. So like the first trade would have been the best one. That's not just hindsight, but it's kind of like, you know, we've all heard the saying where the more you're knocking on support, the more you're knocking on resistance, the more likely it is, because you're eating up those shares at those levels that it'll break through to the upside or to the downside, depending on if you're looking at support or resistance. But to me, like the first trade, that was the best trade already happened, because it's like, hey, we're knocking again for the second time and we come right back down. Now we're going to try to knock again for the third time, and who knows which way it'll end up being. And it could go ahead and come back down. But that being said, for me, the risk reward that I want to take a look at here, I'll go short. Let's say if I get into entry right now, right? And my target is going to be, let's say, right back at VWAP area right there. So if I want to have this be a, you know, let's see, about a, where is it at? Kind of like right about, why is interesting? Something isn't correct here. Because this is supposed to say 1-to-1 lot size, yada, yada, yada. But let's say if I'm risking approximately, what is that? 75 cents. I would want it to be right around here just to give me that proper risk reward on that side. And that's where I'm getting out, you know? Now, do you scale, by the way?
Yeah, for sure.
Or what's your scaling strategy? So say I want to talk percentages. Say you get in with 1,000 shares. How much do you typically like to get out? I'd say target number 1, target number 2, 3. What's your strategy there?
Honestly, it's super subjective depending on, likelihood of the other levels, are they really going to happen in the same day? And options, I like closing within the same day. I don't like swinging unless they're month out, contracts. Yeah. So it really does depend. I mean, if the momentum's pretty heavy, I'll go 30, 30, 30. If it's not, and I don't really have time to manage, my first level, if I'm heavy, I want to get out 70% and then just have 30% runners, because even if it goes wrong, right, I'll have a trailing stop that will protect me. I'll close them out at a higher point, right?
Yeah.
My stop though is going to I'm not going to have trailing stops. My stop is going to get out fully, right? I'm going to get out all my position. But once I hit my first level, I have a trailing stop for the runners, and then I just let the runners go. So it'll be 70, 30, and the 30 have a trailing stop.
Okay, gotcha. Tell the folks where they can find you. If you've got a Twitter handle that you want to share, go ahead and let us know, and we'll take care of it for you here in the chat.
I do not have a Twitter, but you can find me on Instagram and we can chat more. And I'm also in the options. Yeah, I'm also in the options swing Discord community. I do their live calls Monday, Wednesday, and Friday along with my other colleagues, and it's great fun in there. Nice.
Yeah, go ahead and drop your Instagram handle in the chat as well. And it looks like some people are saying, hey, so the competition is to be eligible for the up to $30,000, you have to be living in the United States or Canada. So that's one thing there. But if you're having any issues at all, if you're not able to sign up, something's happening, something's wrong, whatever the case is, you're welcome to email us right there. So if you go ahead and email us at worldchamps@benzinga.com, I will make sure that we get you to the right people depending on the type of issue you're having, and we will get you all squared away. Don't worry about a thing, because we definitely accept Gmail addresses. I literally have signed up with that myself. So any final thoughts, Kabir, before we let you go, man?
Yeah, I just want to ask, I'm trying to put in my IG. Am I in the right chat, or do I got to connect my YouTube?
Yeah. Here, why don't you tell me what it is, and I'll see if I can pull it up on my thing right now.
Okay.
What's your Instagram handle?
It's Kabir, Kabir.
Yep.
And then another R.
Yep.
And Sing, Singh.
Easy enough. You just have to add one more R, and then people would be able to find you.
Yep.
All right. Perfect. I've got you down right there, man. We've got your Instagram up. Appreciate you guys for hanging out. Kabir, this was fun, man. Best of luck. You're up about 50 plus right now. I know you're kind of being cautious, so make sure you don't go too crazy. I like the discipline, even though it's a paper trading competition. And I hope to talk to you, in a week or two here as you progress, man.
Hey, you never know what might happen after this call, right?
Let me know. You've got my number. Shoot me a text, man. We'd love to bring you on as often as we can. All right.
I'd love to be here. Thanks for having me.
Take care. You got it, boss. All right. That is Kabir Singh from Option Swing. Again, if you want, check out the trading competition. It is 100% free. You don't have to risk a single penny to sign up. Try it. If you like it, great. If you don't, no harm, no foul. But I think this is kind of like what Kabir said, where you can utilize a trading competition, whether you're a veteran, a newbie, and you trying new strategies, whatever the case may be, where you can get some skin in the game, test some things out, and be like, okay, maybe I can adjust this way. Maybe I can adjust that way, right? And as long as the strategies that you're doing are real strategies that you would do, and you're just, trying to up your limits and trying to up your buying power, then I think it's perfectly a great way to kind of learn that as well. Because so many times, I know I struggle with this, is scaling up as well when it comes to trading. It's like, hey, I was really good with 200 shares, but when I go to 300 shares, I start struggling. My mental gets impacted. This is another great way to kind of have some skin in the game, because you do have a chance to win up to $30,000. Appreciate you guys for hanging out. Appreciate all the love you guys show us. We're going to head out. And again, don't forget, pre-market prep starts at 8, and then your favorites, Ryan and 13, will be back with live trading after that as well. Happy trading. Again, if you have any questions, email me, Zunaid@benzinga.com. We'll take care of you as always, and we'll see you next time.